Zhuma was born a favored son of heaven, yet he was merely a cannon fodder male supporting character in a novel to change his tragic fate. On the day the female lead was cornered in an alley, I stopped him from playing the hero, which almost led to her being assaulted. The female lead then came to resent Zhuma and thus distanced herself from him. After that, Zhuma's life went smoothly, and he soared to success. But later, when I was in danger, Zhuma chose to watch with cold indifference. If it weren't for you back then, Mian wouldn't have hated me. It just goes to show that karma is a bitch, and evil gets its due. You deserve this. I died in that cold alley, barely clothed. Waking up again, the childhood friend, with bloodshot eyes, was determined to go and save the female lead this time. I respected fate's arrangement. 1. Shenwei, Xia Mian is cornered in the alley behind the school. I heard it's because she rejected the school bully's advances, and the bully sent people to teach her a lesson for her insolence. A familiar voice reached my ears, leaving me unable to react for a long time. At this moment, I still seem to be immersed in humiliation, pain, and despair. It's too profound to recover from. Shenwei, Lin Qi nudged me. What's wrong with you? Why do you suddenly look so stunned? Is it because Han Xingyi is going to save Xia Mian now, and you're too devastated? I looked at Lin Qin. She still had the baby fat of her teenage years on her face. At this moment, I finally realized I had been reborn. I was reborn at the age of 17. At the very moment Han Xingyi was about to go save Xia Mian, I turned my gaze to that handsome, clear-featured boy, who was now rushing out of the classroom without a second thought. In my previous life, I had also chased after him without hesitation, because just before that, I had suddenly awakened to the plot. Han Xingyi and I were both supporting characters in a book. I was a mere bystander, while Han Xingyi was the cannon fodder male supporting character, a stepping stone on the romantic path of the male and female leads. In his obsession to win the female lead's affection, Han Xingyi, once a prodigy, became paranoid, deranged, and corrupt, even turning to crime. In the end, the female lead personally sent him to prison, where he died a miserable death, his eyes wide with unresolved resentment. Han Xingyi and I grew up together since childhood. Childhood sweethearts. He took great care of me, attentive to every detail. I couldn't bear to see Han Xingyi's tragic fate, so from the moment the gears of destiny began to turn, I tried every means to change his storyline. When he was about to go into the alley to save Xia Mian, I grabbed his arm and desperately tried to stop him from leaving, because I knew that this act of saving the damsel in distress would make Xia Mian feel grateful towards him, and the two would grow closer, leading Han Xingyi to mistakenly believe that Xia Mian loved him, to the point where later, when Xia Mian truly fell in love with the male lead, Han Xingyi couldn't handle the blow and his temperament changed drastically, leading him down a dark path. In my previous life, I succeeded. Even though Han Xingyi's rough tugging left me bruised and battered all over, I didn't let him go save Xia Mian. Of course, Xia Mian wasn't actually in trouble. She's the female lead, destined to be favored from birth. Just as the school bully was about to assault Xia Mian, the police arrived in time and rescued her. Later, however, Xia Mian heard that Han Xingyi didn't save her because of me, and began to develop a rift with Han Xingyi, deliberately distancing herself from him. No matter how Han Xingyi apologized or tried to appease her, Xia Mian remained indifferent. Han Xingyi finally gave up on Xia Mian, and I successfully changed his fate. His subsequent life was smooth sailing, rising steadily to great heights. At a young age, he became an outstanding entrepreneur and philanthropist, admired and revered by countless people. But I never imagined that Han Xingyi had always harbored a deep grudge against me. Years later, when I was in danger and sought his help, he chose to watch coldly and mock me. If it weren't for you back then, Mian wouldn't have hated me. One can only say that karma is a cycle. Evil begets evil. You got what you deserved. I died in that cold alley, my body exposed and uncovered. My eyes remained wide open in death. If I were to do it again, Lin Qin asked me, do you want to go after Han Xingyi too? No, I won't. After experiencing my past life, if I were still so infatuated, then I would truly deserve it. I calmly took out my high school textbooks and started doing my homework. You don't mind, Han Xingyi, doing this? Lin Qin was surprised by my actions. Yes, I admit, I had romantic feelings for Han Xingyi. When we were young, elders often joked that Han Xingyi would marry me when we grew up. Han Xingyi also said that if no one wanted me when I got older, he would marry me. Coupled with how good he was to me, for a while, I truly believed it until Xia Mian appeared. She transferred to our class in the second half of our first year of high school and became Han Xingyi's deskmate. From then on, Han Xingyi only had eyes for Xia Mian. I was jealous too, and I even asked Han Xingyi directly about his feelings for Xia Mian. Han Xingyi told me very frankly that he liked Xia Mian. And that his feelings for me were only those of a sibling. Childhood sweethearts ultimately couldn't compete with a destined love, no matter how heartbroken I was. I eventually chose to step aside and offer my blessings. After all, loving someone is not wrong, nor is it decided by who came first. If I hadn't awakened to the plot beforehand, I wouldn't have tried to stop Han Xingyi and Xia Mianmian from being together, but Han Xingyi didn't think so. In fact, after I stopped Han Xingyi from saving Xia Mianmian, I explained to him why I did it. First, when I chased him out, I had Lin Qin call the police, and the police would go to save Xia Mianmian. Second, I honestly told him that we were inside a book and what the ending of the book was. I thought that with our years of relationship, he would believe me. In fact, he didn't refute me, and in the days that followed, he treated me as usual, making me mistakenly believe that he had truly let go of Xia Mianmian and started his new life. But looking back now, from the very beginning, Han Xingyi was taking revenge on me. He seemed to care for me as meticulously as before, but he was actually using my feelings for him to achieve his goals step by step. On the day of the college entrance exam, he pretended to have a stomachache. To take him to the hospital, I had to miss one exam, which caused me to fail the college entrance exam. Meanwhile, because he had already secured early admission, he still got into his dream prestigious university. I originally planned to study for another year and try again, but he wanted me to attend university in the same city as him and even picked a junior college for me that matched my score. Yet, during those university years, he kept me at arm's length. Whenever a guy showed interest in me, he would draw closer, only to deliberately distance himself again after successfully sabotaging my potential relationships. After graduation, he landed an offer from a Fortune Global 500 company, while I struggled to find a job in the big city, repeatedly hindered by my qualifications. Just as I decided to return to my hometown, he suddenly reappeared, saying he wanted to start a business and asked me to join him. I worked alongside him to build his company. It grew rapidly, and within a few years, he became the youngest entrepreneur and philanthropist in his circle, enjoying immense success and prestige. By then, we were both already 29 years old. My parents are urging me to get married, insisting I must tie the knot before I turn 30. The first time I proactively asked Han Xingyi about marriage, I will never forget the contemptuous look he gave me, which made me feel utterly humiliated. He said, "Shenwei, we're just friends, or perhaps bed partners. It's just adults taking what they need from each other. Don't overthink it." The subtext was, how could you possibly be worthy of me? How could I ever marry you? 3 waves of memories surged back. My hands, clutching my high school textbooks, were trembling. You're really not going after him? I heard the school bully is really rampant. He's not even afraid of the school teachers. Han Xingyi is so scrawny, won't he get beaten to death? Lin Qin had always known about my feelings for Han Xingyi. She was clearly surprised by my current indifference. That's his business. I took a deep breath and said to Lin Qin, studying is the most important thing to me right now. Anyone who delays my studies is trying to rob me of my life. I added, and you're not allowed to slack off either. You promised we'd both get into university together. In my past life, because I was often distracted by Han Xingyi, it also affected Lin Qin's focus, and in the end, we both failed to get into our dream university, a university this time. I absolutely cannot repeat the same mistake. It's only the second year of high school and it's already this intense. Lin Qin was somewhat overwhelmed. Actually, I've always loved studying. It's just that in front of Han Xingyi, academics took a back seat. Seeing my resolute attitude, Lin Qin didn't try to persuade me further. She just said quietly, actually, I've long felt that Han Xingyi wasn't good enough for you. Yes, I think so too. That day, Han Xingyi successfully rescued Xia Mianmian. He was beaten badly by the school bully and was hospitalized for a week. During this week, Xia Mianmian visited him every day after school. As the plot unfolded, their relationship progressed rapidly. After Han Xingyi returned to school, the classmates in the class tacitly acknowledged the couple relationship between Han Xingyi and Xia Mianmian. Neither of them clarified or refuted the matter. After that, my relationship with Han Xingyi grew increasingly distant, almost to the point of being strangers. It wasn't just me who was actively distancing myself from Han Xingyi. Han Xingyi was also deliberately keeping his distance from me. Occasionally, when we bumped into each other in the classroom, he would even avoid me, as if afraid I might initiate a conversation. Even when our two families occasionally had meals together, he would never attend. As time went on, it seemed I had almost forgotten about Han Xingyi as a person. If it weren't for Lin Qin constantly talking in my ear, she felt a bit indignant on my behalf, so she often badmouthed Han Xingyi and Xia Mianmian to me. I was thus forced to learn a lot about them. It basically aligns with the plot. In high school, Xia Mianmian's grades weren't great, and Han Xingyi was always tutoring her, but the effect wasn't obvious. And it even dragged down Han Xingyi's grades. Of course, Han Xingyi didn't mind. He scored 30 points higher than Xia Mianmian on the college entrance exam, and in the end, they still chose a private college in the same city. Coincidentally, the school bully who pursued Xia Mianmian back then was also at that school and resumed his relentless pursuit of her later. I heard that Han Xingyi and the school bully were expelled after a fight. By then, Lin Qin and I had both successfully enrolled in University A, and hearing this news felt like a distant memory if it weren't for the fact that I unexpectedly saw Han Xingyi when I returned home during the winter break of my junior year. Let me think, I hadn't seen him even once since the college entrance examination, still in my own home. For the moment I pushed open the door and saw Han Xingyi, the joyful smile on my face froze at the corners of my mouth. Why is he in my house? So, did he not know I was coming back today? Divvy's back, my mom greeted me warmly. I forced a smile at my mom. You must be tired, come and eat quickly. My mom told me to put down my luggage and then pulled me to the dining table. I thought Han Xingyi would leave on his own after seeing me return. To my surprise, he sat in the dining chair next to me at my parents' invitation. I hesitated for a moment and switched seats with my dad. Han Xingyi glanced at me without saying anything. The dinner table was quiet. It was my mom who broke the silence first. Xingyi came by to drop off some New Year's gifts. Later, you should take some to Aunt Han as well. Okay, I replied. You must have worked hard studying away from home. Here, have some more. My parents kept putting food in my bowl. I kept my head down, focused on eating my rice. You still eat as much as you did when you were little, Han Xingyi suddenly said, addressing me. I nodded silently and didn't respond. Is a university good? He asked me again. It's fine, I replied perfunctorily. That's great. At least one of us managed to fulfill our childhood dream, Han Xingyi remarked with a sigh. There seemed to be a hint of regret in his tone. In our previous life, he was the one who got into a university through early admission, but I failed and regretted it for the rest of my life. Actually, I've already forgotten about the past, as long as Han Xingyi doesn't show up in front of me again. After dinner, Han Xingyi, however, lingered and didn't leave. I was really tired and didn't want to deal with him anymore, so I directly told him to leave. It's late, you should go back early. Can you walk me out? Han Xingyi's tone was somewhat humble. This is a side I've never seen in this life or any other. This suddenly reminded me of the disgusted and cold-blooded expression he had when I humbly begged him at the alley entrance. It's too cold outside, just to the entrance of the community. I have a few words I want to say to you alone. Han Xingyi's dark eyes were full of sincerity. I agreed in the end. It wasn't that I couldn't bear to refuse, but that I wanted to get rid of him sooner. Actually, my parents weren't exactly thrilled to have him over either. Are you cold? Han Xingyi asked as we walked through the residential complex. His hand reached out naturally to take mine. I pulled away. Han Xingyi looked a bit awkward, his arm hanging stiffly in the air for a moment before he slowly and self-consciously lowered it. Sorry, he said, force of habit. I'm not Xia Mianmian. I reminded him. It's very simple between her and me, Han Xingyi said. It's not what you think. Of course I know, because Xia Mianmian had never explicitly agreed to be his girlfriend from start to finish. It was all his own wishful thinking. What do you want to say to me? I don't want to beat around the bush with him anymore. My parents are still waiting for me to come back. I'm sorry. Han Xingyi suddenly apologized to me. You haven't done anything to apologize for. In my past life and this life, let's not mix things up. I don't want to get caught up in hatred. With a new life, my days can be wonderful, and there's no need for unimportant people to ruin them. 5. In high school, I distanced myself from you because of Xia Mianmian, Han Xingyi explained. I was young and foolish back then. I thought liking someone meant I had to make my stance clear, but I forgot about our years of friendship. Losing that was a greater loss. It wasn't a loss. I chuckled softly. Life is a process of filtering friends. Some people just naturally drift apart. I don't want to drift apart from you. I wish we could be like we used to be, telling each other everything, being each other's most important support. Wei, I'm saying I regret it. Can you forgive me? Han Xingyi sounded emotional. There's no such thing as forgiveness. Our paths won't cross again in the future. You don't need to go out of your way to apologize to me. To me, it doesn't matter at all, to be precise. I looked at Han Xingyi and said, enunciating each word clearly. You mean nothing to me anymore. Han Xingyi looked at me in silence for a long time. He said despondently, I'm sorry for disturbing you today. It's cold out. You should head back early. I left without looking back. When I got home, my parents were still waiting for me. Has Han Xingyi left? Yeah, sigh. My mom sighed. How did such a good kid end up like this now? You're asking for trouble. Who can you blame? It's one thing to fail the Gaokao and end up in a private college, but last year he got expelled for fighting at school. Not long ago, I heard he started his own business, only to lose everything and mortgage his family home. he's really brought this upon himself. I frowned. Han Xingyi started a business in the original plot. After Han Xingyi was expelled from school, he was working to earn money. He rented a place near the school and stayed by Xiao Mianmian's side. Only after Xiao Mianmian graduated from college did he accompany her to City A to develop their careers together. After arriving in City A, Xiao Mianmian met the male lead, her direct superior, the legendary domineering CEO. Following the same formula as all domineering romance novels, the male and female leads go from despising each other to falling in love, pledging their lives to one another. Han Xingyi becomes a stepping stone on their path to love, a classic cannon fodder character unable to accept this blow. Han Xingyi undergoes a drastic change in personality, resorting to various methods to obstruct the development of the main couple's relationship. He not only kidnaps and imprisons Xiao Mianmian but also attempts to assault her. He even illegally steals commercial secrets from the male lead's company in an attempt to ruin his career. He always believed that Xiao Mianmian liked the male lead only because he was rich. He thought that once the male lead had nothing, Xiao Mianmian would return to him. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. Han Xingyi is truly despicable. 6. I returned to school after the winter break. Lin Qin kept chattering nonstop in my ear, lots of gossip from our hometown, including Han Xingyi. Speaking of Han Xingyi, Lin Qin also shook her head repeatedly, saying he was ruined by Xiao Mianmian. If he had chosen me back then, he would never have ended up in such a state. She also pulled me aside and earnestly cautioned me. I heard Han Xingyi is borrowing money everywhere. If he asks you for a loan, you absolutely cannot lend him any, understand? Of course, you can't let old feelings get in the way. Han Xingyi nowadays is a deadbeat, Lin Qin said, still worried. I know exactly what kind of person he is, I reassured her. Don't worry, I'd rather give my money to a homeless person than to him. The day after I said that, I received a call from Han Xingyi. It was an unknown number, otherwise, I probably wouldn't have answered. Vivi, I'm at your school. I fell silent. I've always wanted to get into University A, but now I've missed my chance, Han Xingyi said. I'd like to walk around University A, could you accompany me? Consider it making up for my past regret. I saw Lin Qin shaking her head at me, telling me not to go see Han Xingyi. In Lin Qin's eyes, Han Xingyi was already scum from the bottom of society, completely blacklisted from her life. Okay, I agreed immediately. Lin Qin was disappointed in my lack of progress. After hanging up the phone, she couldn't help but say, you're still thinking about him. No, I just wanted to see how shameless Han Xingyi could really be. I went to the main gate to meet Han Xingyi. Han Xingyi was holding a bouquet of white roses. He said, all these years, and I've never given you flowers. I can't accept a gift for no reason, a token of our meeting. Han Xingyi insisted on giving it to me. Didn't you like white roses? I've never told anyone that I like white roses, I said bluntly. Han Xingyi suddenly fell silent. I also watched him quietly. I was also very curious to know how much longer he could keep up the act. Wei, you figured it out a while ago, didn't you? Han Xingyi suddenly asked me. What did you find? I sneered, turning the question back on him. Who doesn't know how to play Tai Chi? Han Xingyi sighed and said slowly, just like you. I've been reborn. The sarcasm at the corner of my mouth grew even more pronounced. Indeed, I had noticed it long ago, when he saved Xiao Mianmian in high school and then deliberately distanced himself from me, afraid I'd get even a little involved with him. I knew Han Xingyi had been reborn too. Since he chose to stay silent, I had no intention of tearing off the mask and confronting him in this life. We'll each go our own way, never crossing paths again. I genuinely don't understand, after everything that happened in our past life, how shameless must he be to show up in front of me with such audacity. 7. And then, I looked at Han Xingyi. Since you chose your path without hesitation after being reborn, what's the point of shamelessly appearing before me now? If I said I regret it, would you forgive me? Han Xingyi looked at me, sincerity filling his eyes. I really wanted to laugh and I truly couldn't hold back a laugh. Han Xingyi's face flushed and paled in turns. He hurriedly explained, it was my fault for not being able to save you that night, but I never thought you would actually die on that street. I just wanted to teach you a lesson, to find some balance in my own heart. In truth, I had already made up my mind back then. After that night, I would marry you. Ha. I laughed even more exaggeratedly. So, you slap me and then offer me a candy. I didn't want there to be a thorn in our future marriage, which is why I chose to turn a blind eye to your cries for help. That way, we could be even, and I could let go of the past and start fresh with you, Han Xingyi said with utter seriousness. I did it for our own good. The more I listened, the funnier I found it. Han Xingyi, you planned it, didn't you? When the school bully cornered me in the alley back then, I asked him. A flicker of panic crossed Han Xingyi's eyes. After all, besides Lin Qin, No one knew that I was the one who called the police to save Xia Mianmian in the previous life. The school bully had just turned 18 that year and was imprisoned for 3 years for attempted rape. After his release, his family went bankrupt, and his life has been miserable ever since. Everyone knew he hated me to the bone and had repeatedly vowed to kill the person who sent him to jail back then. Han Xingyi opened his mouth, wanting to defend himself, but found himself speechless. You never truly wanted to remove the thorn in your heart and reconcile with me. You only wanted to kill 2 birds with 1 stone because I insisted on leaving you back then, and you could no longer torment or take revenge on me. I bluntly stated Han Xingyi's true intention. I truly never imagined he would kill you out of spite. I genuinely wanted to start over with you after this. Really? Then why, after your rebirth, did you unhesitatingly choose Xia Mianmian? If you wanted a fresh start, given a second chance, why did you ultimately still choose Xia Mianmian? Han Xingyi trailed off, unable to continue. After a long pause, he finally whispered, I just have some regrets. Regret, what a noble-sounding excuse, but who wants second-hand goods? The height of irony ate. Han Xing stared at me, stunned, as if he couldn't believe I would say something so heartless. Yes, in my previous life, I truly loved him too much. I did whatever he asked me to do. In the end, he didn't marry me, and I never said a word of hatred towards him, only grieved in silence and left on my own accord. So in his mind, as long as he comes back to me, I'll just crawl back into his arms like a lapdog, without any complaints or regrets. Vivi, I really haven't done anything inappropriate with Xia Mianmian. Han Xingyi grew agitated. I haven't even held her hand. Does that prove you're clean? I scoffed. No, it only proves that Xia Mianmian doesn't love you. Han Xingyi flushed red, embarrassed by my words. I don't need to spare his feelings either, I said coldly. To me, emotional cheating is just as disgusting as physical cheating. Vivi, can't you give me one more chance? Han Xingyi, stop pretending. You can't possibly regret it, I said, enunciating each word clearly. Then I continued. Everything you're doing now is just to get me to help you climb back to the top of your game. It's because you can't provide a better life for Xia Mianmian right now, and you're worried that she'll leave you for Fu Mingqing later on, once she meets him, a man with money and power. So you want to make yourself a top dog before Xia Mianmian even meets Fu Mingqing. Fu Mingqing is the male lead of this novel and also Xia Mianmian's official love interest. You thought that with your memories from your past life, even without attending university, even after being expelled, you could still succeed, but unexpectedly, your current development is vastly different from what you imagined. You invest in anything and fail at it. By now, you've accumulated countless debts and have deeply disappointed Xia Mianmian. You can't understand why this is happening, as you've done everything according to your past life. How could it not work? Then you thought of me, because in the previous life, I was the one who accompanied you in your struggles, the one who led you to fame and glory, to be the center of attention. Therefore, you believe that only with me by your side will you succeed. I mercilessly exposed his hypocrisy one by one. I watched Han Xingyi's expression grow increasingly grim. Was it shame after being exposed, or anger at being rejected by me? It doesn't matter anymore. Han Xingyi is not important to me. I just wanted to get rid of him as soon as possible. I don't want my life to be affected by him again and again. When my mom told me during the winter break that Han Xingyi's startup had failed, I started to doubt Han Xingyi's sudden appearance, so I contacted a classmate who was good friends with Xia Mianmian in high school to inquire about the relationship between Han Xingyi and Xia Mianmian. The other party told me that Han Xingyi had been pestering Xia Mianmian, but Xia Mianmian only felt indebted to him, not love. Han Xingyi had been deluding himself. They also said that Xia Mianmian had rejected Han Xingyi many times, yet he persisted, even boasting that he would be very rich in the future and could provide Xia Mianmian with a better life. As a result, his startup failed, and Xia Mianmian no longer wanted to deal with him. She only felt indebted and couldn't completely break ties with him. In the end, out of desperation, to sever ties with Han Xingyi, Xia Mianmian set a goal for him. As long as he succeeded in his startup, she would agree to try dating Han Xingyi. In order to get back together with Xia Mianmian, Han Xingyi had to wrong himself and come to me. I was actually prepared for Han Xingyi to come looking for me. After all, his disgusting nature knows no bounds. 9 Han Xingyi and I parted on bad terms. As he was leaving, he only said, Shen Wei, don't you dare regret this. Laughable. The biggest regret of my life is meddling in other people's business. For a long time after that, I never saw Han Xingyi again, nor did I hear any news about him. I buried myself in my own field and worked diligently to advance. After university, I was recommended for graduate studies. Upon completing my master's, I received an offer from a Fortune Global 500 company. As fate would have it, It was the very same company where Han Xingyi had worked in my previous life. I worked diligently at the company for 3 years before leaving in the 4th year to start my own business. It took only a year for my company to get on track. Its subsequent growth was astonishingly fast. I quickly became a rising star in the industry, gaining a prominent reputation in the business world. I've also been heavily involved in philanthropy, achieving both fame and career success. It's been quite the glorious ride. That year, I had just turned 29. My mother called to ask when I was getting married. It was only then that I suddenly remembered. I had lived to see 29 again in my previous life. This was the year I died. I died in the same alley where Xia Mianmian was once nearly assaulted. After Han Xingyi rejected my marriage proposal, I returned to my hometown. Han Xingyi drove me back, saying he was going to visit his parents while he was at it. After he returned home and was about to leave again, he asked me out for a meal. I thought that would be our final farewell. I even thought that perhaps Han Xingyi still felt a little reluctant to part with me. I never imagined that it was all part of his long-planned scheme. After dinner, he took me to our old high school. Then, on purpose, he led me to that same alley from back then, and then, we accidentally ran into the school bully from those days. When I was dragged into that alley, Han Xingyi chose to stand by and watch coldly. I never expected him to risk his life for me like he did for Xia Mianmian. I only hoped he would call the police for me, but he didn't. He walked away with a cold, indifferent gaze. He said, "If it weren't for you back then, Mianmian wouldn't have hated me. It just goes to show that karma is a bitch, and evil gets its due. You deserve this." Yes, I do deserve this. Deserve to defy fate for him, no matter the cost. The heart-wrenching experience that night, even in a new life, even after so many years, still remains a vivid and piercing memory. I composed myself and said to my mother, "I'm not getting married. It's fine to be alone for the rest of my life." My mother was furious, but being so far away, there was nothing she could do about it. I never expected that when I went home for the Lunar New Year this year, my mother would directly set me up on a blind date. She declared that I must be married off before I turned 30. I spent my days dealing with different blind dates. Today, I unexpectedly ran into Xia Mianmian at a cafe. She was affectionately arm in arm with a man, not Han Xingyi, but the male lead, Fu Mingqing. Are they together? According to the plot, they did get together. Xia Mianmian saw me too. She seemed a little surprised when she saw me and took the initiative to greet me, saying, "Shen Wei, is that you? You've changed so much. I almost didn't recognize you." I smiled as a form of greeting. Xia Mianmian didn't say much more and walked with Fu Mingqing toward a nearby coffee table. The two of them looked very well matched. So what has Han Xingyi been all these years? Cannon fodder. That's what. I chatted with my blind date for a while, and we both felt it wasn't quite right. After all, I have absolutely no plans to get married, let alone have children. My date left first, just as I was about to leave too. Xia Mianmian suddenly walked over. "Mind if we talk?" "Not at all." Xia Mianmian sat opposite me and said sincerely, "You become so much prettier than in high school. I heard from classmates that you're doing very well in City A and have become a female entrepreneur. It was truly Han Xingyi's loss to have left you back then." She really knows how to say something sarcastic. I stirred the coffee in front of me, my expression unchanged. "Why didn't you end up with Han Xingyi?" My feelings for Han Xingyi were always gratitude, never love. I told Han Xingyi many times, and I also advised him to be with you. I never intended to break you two up. It was Han Xingyi who persistently pursued me. I smiled, a hint of sarcasm in my expression. Is this considered showing off? If she had given Han Xingyi no hope back then, would Han Xingyi have been so devoted to her? Of course, I wouldn't stand up for Han Xingyi. He brought it upon himself. He deserves it. 10. Do you know what Han Xingyi is doing now? Xia Mianmian asked me. I don't know. He's working as a car mechanic now. You know Han Xingyi has a cleanliness obsession, right? When my car broke down and I went to get it fixed, I saw him. I could hardly believe the man covered in grime was actually Han Xingyi. Xia Mianmian said with some exaggeration. I was just listening to a piece of gossip. I heard from a classmate that his mother is sick, something like heart disease needing bypass surgery. His family's money was all squandered by his reckless investments a few years ago. They even mortgaged their house, and now he's buried in debt. I don't know how he's going to survive, Xia Mianmian said helplessly. Isn't his life like this because of you? I said bluntly. It wasn't that I felt sorry for Han Xingyi. I just can't stand Xia Mianmian's act of playing innocent while being manipulative. Xia Mianmian got a bit agitated. How can you blame me? I didn't force him to do anything. If you don't believe me, you can go ask him. I always advised him to be down to earth and not aim too high back. Then, what could I do if he didn't listen? She became more emotional as she spoke. Do you think I didn't want to help Han Xingyi? But he's just a hopeless case. He lacks ability yet thinks highly of himself. Do you know when I first started working, I couldn't even afford to eat myself. yet I helped him pay off his debts. But do you know what he did with my money? He tried to play the stock market like others and lost everything miserably. He's become this way now. Is it my fault? It's his own fault. I have a clear conscience, Xia Mianmian said word by word, filled with righteous indignation. I didn't respond, just a glance behind her, because I saw Han Xingyi. He was still in his repair shop clothes, and he really didn't look clean. His hair was also cut short, and he looked frighteningly thin. It was a world of difference from his former fair-skinned and handsome appearance. If I hadn't known him so well, I wouldn't have recognized him at a glance. I admit I'm doing very well now. I've found my true love, and I'm financially well off. I can completely afford to pay for Han Xingyi's mother's medical expenses, but I'm no longer willing to help him. Xia Mianmian didn't notice Han Xingyi behind her as she continued to vent her grievances about him. He's like a stubborn stain. I'm really afraid that if I show him even a little bit of softness, I'll never be able to get rid of him. Do you know what I regret the most now? It's that time Han Xingyi rescued me from the school bully at the alley entrance. I would have rather been bullied by the school bully than be entangled by him like this all these years. I chuckled lightly, not reminding Xia Mianmian that Han Xingyi was right behind her. Of course, Han Xingyi didn't humiliate himself. After hearing Xia Mianmian's words, he turned and left, humble and pathetic. I withdrew my gaze and asked Xia Mianmian, "Why are you telling me all this? I'm just an outsider in your relationship. I know you like Han Xingyi." Xia Mianmian said directly, "So I want to tell you that there's nothing between Han Xingyi and me. If you still have feelings for him, you can go ahead and be with him. How could you think I would pick up the trash you discarded?" I interrupted her with a cold laugh. Xia Mianmian looked a bit embarrassed, then said righteously, "Aren't you going on blind dates? You're so outstanding now but still single. Aren't you waiting for Han Xingyi?" "I'm single because I have high standards. I'd rather be alone than settle for less in a relationship. It has absolutely nothing to do with Han Xingyi." Xia Mianmian was left speechless, seemingly at a loss for words. I didn't want to waste any more words on her either. When it comes down to it, Xia Mianmian just still harbors a lingering sense of guilt towards Han Xingyi in her heart. After all, as the female lead, she possesses a basic sense of conscience. That's why she wants to set me up with Han Xingyi. In her view, I'm doing so well now. If I were to get together with Han Xingyi, it would be the best possible outcome for him. That way, she could pursue her own happiness with an even clearer conscience. I stood up and left without another word. Just as I stepped out of the cafe, I saw Han Xingyi standing at the entrance. "Shenwei, do you think I'm a joke now?" 11. No, not a joke. I turned to look at him. To be precise, I can't be bothered to waste any emotion on someone who doesn't matter. I saw a self-deprecating smile on Han Xingyi's face. He said nothing more. My heart didn't soften either. As I left, it felt as if I heard Han Xingyi say, "Take care." It sounded like a blessing, and also like a farewell. I didn't look back. The next time I met Han Xingyi was when he was in prison. He insisted on seeing me. In fact, it had only been 2 days since our chance encounter at the cafe. I heard that Han Xingyi drove his car and hit Xia Mianmian and Fu Mingqing. As the male and female protagonists of this story, they naturally wouldn't suffer major harm, but Fu Mingqing was severely injured in his leg while protecting Xia Mianmian. With a possibility of paralysis, Han Xingyi was administratively detained on suspicion of intentional injury. When I went to the detention center to see him, I happened to run into Xia Mianmian coming out. The moment she saw me, anger still lingered in her eyes. I used to pity Han Xingyi, but now I really wish he were dead. I just watched Xia Mianmian like this. Suddenly, I realized that I had no desire to interfere in their affairs at all. It can only be said that the pitiable have their hateful aspects. A scumbag like him, I advise you to stay away from him too. Xia Mianmian dropped a sentence and left in a hurry. I walked into the detention center and saw Han Xingyi in his prison uniform. He looked even more dejected today than the last time I saw him. At first glance, he truly resembled a hunched-over old man. When he looked up at me, his eyes were still red. I don't know if it was because of what Xia Mianmian had just said that made him so sad, or if he was grieving his own tragic life. I was only here to see Han Xingyi out of respect for his mother. I was actually planning to leave here and return to City A, if not for Han's mother pleading with me so desperately. Han Xingyi's fate was his own doing, but his mother is truly innocent. I regret it. Han Xingyi's first words upon seeing me still took me somewhat by surprise. He said, "This time it's real." I believe it's real too. After all, things have come to this point. Actually, I also awakened to the plot, Han Xingyi said. "It suddenly awakened in me after you died in the previous life, but before that, I truly thought you were lying to me, just to separate me and Xia Mianmian." I showed no extra expression. The person before me was nothing but a stranger. "Not long after you died, I died too, in a car accident." I suddenly felt life had lost all meaning, going to work every day like a numb machine, and then driving while fatigued. Han Xingyi looked at me and said, at the moment of death, I truly thought if there were a next life, I would make it up to you properly, but in the end, you still chose Xia Mianmian without hesitation, I said sarcastically. Yes, Han Xing nodded. He nodded silently. I couldn't find a reason to argue. I'm not reconciled. Why am I just a supporting character? Why can't I be the protagonist? Why can't I control my own destiny? Han Xing's usually calm face became agitated as he spoke. I thought I could defy fate, but no matter how hard I tried, the outcome always moved in the direction of the plot. Han Xingyi's tears suddenly streamed down his face. I'm such a joke. Knowing full well that I could never be with Xia Mianmian, yet still acting so self-important, I remained calmly watching him weep uncontrollably. Who says there's no thrill of revenge in my previous life? I too was once this broken and powerless. Fortunately, in this life, you haven't been influenced by me. Han Xingyi suddenly said sincerely. I smiled. I laughed out loud. Did he forget that he once tried to drag me down with him? Don't you think it's hypocritical to say that now? I looked at him and said, Han Xingyi, is it possible that in our past life, I traded my own fate for your safety and prosperity? What I mean is, everything I have now is what I deserve. It's just that because I'm a background character, it wasn't mentioned in the plot. It had nothing to do with him. He was not qualified to say such things. Han Xingyi was slightly stunned. His face was a little pale then. He nodded silently. He just nodded, utterly ruined. Xia Mianmian hates you deeply. You'd better think hard about how to earn her forgiveness and get a lighter sentence. After saying that, I stood up to leave. Wei, if I could live my life over, if I didn't choose Xia Mianmian, if everything could start anew, no, I said firmly, if I had a choice, I would only choose to stay as far away from you as possible. Han Xingyi swallowed the words that were on the tip of his tongue. Goodbye. Goodbye forever. I walked out of the detention center and looked at the sunlight just past 10 in the morning. Bright and bold, it was like the rest of my life to come, blazing like the sun. As for whether Han Xingyi would die in prison as the plot dictated, that was his own choice to make. Living a second life has taught me a profound lesson. Let go of the savior complex and respect the fate of others. Everything is, indeed, for the best. The end. Story 2. In the 1970s, I rescued Lu Huayan from a flood, injuring my leg in the process. Out of gratitude, Lu Huayan married me despite my limp, which became a celebrated love story at the time. But it wasn't until after Lu's death that his true love showed up with a boy and threw me out. When I finally discovered they'd been legally married all along, there was even a child I never knew about listed in the household registry. The shocking truth hit me so hard that I suffered a sudden heart attack and collapsed unconscious. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself reborn before ever marrying Lu Huayan. In this life, I decided to let go of Lu Huayan and reclaim the life that's rightfully mine. The suffocating sensation from my past life's heart attack still lingered when I glanced up to see Lu Huayan in his green military uniform standing by my bed, eyeing me with impatience. Give the library job to Wenwei first. She just lost her husband. It's not easy for a woman to settle down here alone. This scene felt all too familiar. In my past life, he acted just like this, demanding with righteous indignation that I surrender my job to his beloved Bai Yuiguang, Yi Wenwei. This led to a huge fight between us, even disturbing Lu Huayan's mother. In the end, not only did I fail to reclaim my position, but I also got scolded by Madame Lu. It's just a measly librarian job. Was it worth all this fuss? You've embarrassed our Lu family. Country bumpkin behavior, petty and utterly classless. In my past life, this job was actually offered to me by the Lu family. Back then, Lu Huayan was sent to our village as an educated youth during the Cultural Revolution. My father, being the village party secretary, recognized his talents and gave him special care. That summer saw relentless storms, and our riverside village got hit by severe floods. During the evacuation, Lu Huayan fell into the water. I was the one who pulled him out, injuring my leg in the process. He wanted to marry me out of gratitude, while Mrs. Lu used her connections to secure me this job at the school where she worked. In this new life, I'm done with the job, and I'm done with the man too. Fine, I understand. You may leave now. Lu Huayan's gaze faltered slightly as he raised a fist to his lips, clearing his throat twice. It's good that you understand. Don't worry, even if you lose your job, you'll always have me. Not like Wenwei, she's got nothing. This job means everything to her. I looked up at him with icy detachment. Are you done? A flicker of displeasure crossed Lu Huayan's eyes, but I couldn't be bothered to humor him. I stood up and began packing my things. Realizing I was ignoring him, he finally shut his mouth and stomped out in a huff. The moment the door clicked shut, I sprang up to rummage through every corner. I finally breathed a heavy sigh of relief when I found the telegram that Lu Huayan had carelessly tossed in the corner. Noting the date on the telegram and seeing there was still daylight, I limped to the post office to send a reply to my father. Keep the spot for me, coming home soon. This was the telegram where father informed me he'd secured me a spot at the Worker Peasant Soldier University in my past life. The telegram my father sent me was carelessly tossed in a corner by Lu Huiyan. I was too busy arguing with Lu Huiyan to even notice it. By the time I found it, 3 months had passed. The university admission mentioned in the telegram was long gone back then. The job the Lu family promised me went to Yuanhui instead. I missed my chance at university, and the marriage plans kept getting dragged out endlessly. They hastily threw a few wedding banquets just before Lu Huiyan was transferred, making it official. After that, Lu Huiyan and I rarely had time together. Yuanhui was soon transferred as well. As time passed, Lu Huiyan kept moving farther away, yet Lu Wenhui followed wherever he went. Meanwhile, I remained trapped here, tending to the elderly, dragging my crippled leg. I spun like a top day and night, first caring for my husband's grandmother, then his parents, in ceaseless toil. My only pregnancy ended in miscarriage because of Yi Wenhui. Only after both elders passed was I finally able to join Lu Huiyan in North City. He settled me in the staff dormitory assigned by his workplace, then buried himself in work and rarely came home. With my leg disability and aversion to socializing, I barely left the house except for essential grocery runs. Nobody knew I was Professor Lu's wife. They all assumed I was some distant relative here to help out. No one bothered to inform me when Lu Huiyan passed away from a sudden illness. It wasn't until Yi Wenhui showed up with her son and kicked me out that I discovered Lu Huiyan had been leading a double life. He'd secretly married her long ago. Even her son was legally registered under Lu Huiyan's name. I gave everything for this family, only to end up with nothing. Thank God I never actually married Lu Huiyan, though my leg's crippled now. There's still time to turn things around. It's not too late. I picked up the red brush and added a touch of crimson to the unfinished plum blossom painting on the table. By the time this painting is complete, it'll be time for me to leave. Consider it a gift to myself, the gift of freedom. The next day, I gathered all the wedding preparations, packed them in bags, and traded them for cash and ration coupons on the black market. On my way back, I ran into Lu Huiyan, who was chatting and laughing with Yi Wenhui on their way to work. When Lu Huiyan spotted me, his expression instantly turned awkward and he began fidgeting nervously. Feeling irritated, I pretended not to see them and walked straight past, but Yi Wenhui wouldn't let it slide. Sister Yawning, don't misunderstand. We just happened to meet Brother Lu on the way since we're heading the same direction. Yawning, it's really not what you think, Lu Huiyan hastily explained when he saw me ignoring them. It's fine, carry on, I replied indifferently. Sis Yawning, I know you've got the wrong idea about me because of work, but I genuinely need this job. Could you please let it go? Brother Lu only helped me out of pity. Don't misunderstand him. I don't want you two arguing because of me. Yi Wenhui blocked my way, insisting on arguing with me. I gave her a forced smile and a sidelong glance. She wore her hair in 2 braids, dressed in a crisp polyester dress with shiny black leather shoes, looking every bit the pampered city girl. Meanwhile, I stood there in patched clothes, my sun-baked face the color of wheat, covered in enough dust to sweep off by the pound, not to mention my lame leg. In my past life, seeing her like this would have crushed my confidence. I wouldn't have dared speak to her, but now, I won't give her an inch. Oh really? Let's put it to a vote. Who here thinks they need this job more, me or you? Word is you just lost your man, so why are you dolled up like a peacock and clinging to him? Explain that. My words hit home. Yi Wenhui's face fell as she turned teary-eyed to Lu Huiyan. Big brother Lu, are you seeing this? Lu Huiyan's face flushed crimson as he barked at me. Qiu Yanning, how dare you speak to Wenhui like that? Apologize to her this instant. Apologize? What exactly should I be apologizing for, and who's going to apologize for those decades I wasted in my past life? I had no desire to engage with them, so I turned and walked away, leaving Lu Huiyan and his companion fuming and shouting behind me. Country bumpkins, no manners. School was about to start, and though the money and coupons I just exchanged weren't much, they'd still cover my tuition. I returned home in high spirits and added a few more crimson strokes to my unfinished plum blossom painting. Soon, I'll be able to leave this place behind and start my new life. Lu Huiyan finally came home that evening. He hadn't been home for days, and the moment he returned, he started bossing me around. Cook some dishes tomorrow and invite Wenhui over for dinner. You might as well apologize to her while you're at it, Lu Huiyan instructed, then give me the grocery money. Lu Huiyan froze momentarily before frowning. You haven't given me living expenses this month. I've spent all the money I brought from home. Do you expect me to cook thin air for her? Lu Huiyan looked somewhat embarrassed as he turned and pulled out several 10 yuan bills from his pocket, placing them on the table. Without ceremony, I pocketed the money. Get some meat dishes. Wenhui's too thin. She needs proper nourishment. The next day at noon, Lu Huiyan brought Yi Wenhui over for Lunch, I cooked a whole table of fish dishes, fish head tofu soup, pickled fish slices, cold dressed fish skin, practically reeking of fish judging by the child's birth date on Lu Huayan's household register in my past life. Yu Wenwei should already be pregnant by now. The question is whether the child is Lu Huayan's or someone else's. My bet is it's not his. He seems completely clueless about it, yawning. Your cooking looks absolutely delicious. Before I could even take my seat, Yu Wenwei casually settled beside Lu Huayan and started eating without ceremony. Meanwhile, I was still toiling in the kitchen, looking more like their housekeeper, but after just a few bites, we heard Yu Wenwei abruptly stand up. She rushed to the bathroom, followed by the sound of retching. Lu Huayan stood anxiously outside the door, persistently asking Yu Wenwei what was wrong. Pale-faced, Yu Wenwei pushed the door open with teary eyes and said plaintively, "This fish is way too fishy. I can't eat it, Brother Lu. Since Sister Yawning doesn't want me here, I just won't come anymore." For the first time ever, Lu Huayan didn't immediately side with Yu Wenwei. He scratched his head, looking puzzled. "Tastes fine to me. Doesn't seem fishy at all." Yu Wenwei froze momentarily before forcing an awkward smile. "Really? But this time," I cut Yu Wenwei off mid-sentence. "You're not pregnant, are you?" Yu Wenwei's face paled instantly while Lu Huayan frowned. "What nonsense are you spouting? Wenwei's husband passed away 6 months ago. How could she possibly be pregnant? Don't pick up those gossip mongers' habits, spreading rumors all day long. In my past life, I was like a mute gourd. When they humiliated me, I couldn't even muster a retort. But now that I'm reborn, why should I endure it again? Was I wrong? The fish was perfectly cooked. Everyone else ate it just fine. So why is she the only one having issues? Honestly, her symptoms are identical to Aunt San's pregnancy back in our village. If you think I'm overreacting, why not just get her checked? Or is it that you've been spending every waking moment with her? Have you two been carrying on behind my back? Is that child yours?" My words struck a nerve. Lu Huayan's face flushed crimson as if set ablaze. "Shut your damn mouth." Yu Wenwei turned deathly pale at those words, pointing at me with a mix of shame and fury. She stammered, "You," before she could finish. Her eyes rolled back as she fainted into Lu Huayan's arms. Lu Huayan immediately abandoned our argument and rushed Yu Wenwei to the hospital. Leaving the house in rare tranquility, I picked up my chopsticks and feasted heartily on the lavish spread before me, thoroughly enjoying every bite. Lu Huayan didn't return that evening, likely keeping Yu Wenwei company at the hospital. I'd packed all my belongings into just a small bundle. Everything the Lu family had given me remained untouched, neatly arranged in the room. Now, all I needed was a reason to go home the next day. Lu Huayan's mother returned. When swamped with work, she'd usually make do with the school-provided dormitory. The faculty housing compound where I lived was originally allocated to her by the university. Since Lu Huaizhou and I were about to marry, she let us have it as our marital home. With the recent reinstatement of college entrance exams and the university's hectic schedule, her visits home became increasingly rare. In my past life, though Mrs. Lu and I never got along, she never actually wronged me. What's more, Mrs. Lu never liked Yu Wenwei, so even her sour expression started looking somewhat pleasing to me. Perfect. Using her to annoy Lu Huayan would be quite satisfying. I quickly boiled water and served tea. Seeing my eagerness, her stern expression softened noticeably. Before we could exchange more than a few pleasantries, Lu Huayan returned supporting the pale-faced Yu Wenwei. Lu Huayan called for me the moment he stepped through the courtyard gate, yawning, "Quickly prepare a room for Wenwei. She's fallen ill with no one to care for her. She'll stay with us for a few days." Madame Lu's expression darkened instantly as she snapped sharply, "Lu Huayan, get in here this instant." Lu Huayan finally noticed Madame Lu's arrival and hastily ushered Yu Wenwei inside. "That nonsense you were shouting about pregnancy in the courtyard yesterday, gossip travels fast, and it's already reached my ears today. Set a wedding date with Yawning immediately, unless you want the whole neighborhood gossiping about this scandal." Though Madame Lu scolded him relentlessly, Lu Huayan clearly remained defiant. "There's absolutely nothing between Wen Hui and me. It's not what you're thinking," blamed Qiu Yanning and her loose lips. "Wen Hui and I have done nothing wrong, yet she's spreading baseless rumors. Then why did you bring this woman home?" Mother Lu looked at Lu Huayan with exasperation. "When Hui's in poor health with no one to care for her, I had no choice but to bring her back." "Absolutely not. This woman cannot move in under any circumstances," Mrs. Lu declared firmly. At this, Yu Wenwei lowered her head and began sobbing quietly. Her pitiful demeanor instantly tugged at Lu Huayan's heartstrings. "If you won't let Wenwei stay here, then I'll take her somewhere else. I won't abandon her," Lu Huayan snapped, storming out while dragging Wenwei along. Mrs. Lu was so infuriated by Huayan that she clutched her chest, gasping for breath before collapsing into The chair. I rushed over to pat her back and help her catch her breath. It took quite a while before she recovered, yawning. Huayan was out of line. Please don't take it to heart. We should set the wedding date soon. How about I pick a day and we just make it official? A flicker of hesitation crossed my eyes before I lowered my head and murmured, marriage is a lifelong commitment. I should discuss this with my father first. Quite right. Such matters do require the in-laws' approval. Very well. Return home promptly to choose an auspicious date. We'll hold the wedding soon. Madame Lu instructed. I nodded in agreement. Before I left, Mrs. Lu gave me 200 yuan to buy something for my father as a token of their regards. I pocketed the money. In my past life, I never received such kindness. My explosive argument with Lu Huayan over work issues turned the whole compound into spectators, earning me Mrs. Lu's deep disapproval. That's why she turned a blind eye when Lu Huayan grew close to Yu Wenhui later, and their wedding was just a slapdash affair I was just worrying about finding an excuse to go home, and now I have a perfectly legitimate reason to return. I glanced at the red plum blossoms on the wall. The few remaining ones had all been painted over. This means I can head back early now. I immediately booked the fastest ticket home and left behind a letter calling off the engagement. Then, without a trace of hesitation, I embarked on a new journey as the train began moving. I could have sworn I saw Lu Huaizhou's face. He was desperately running forward, waving his arms as if shouting something to me. Must have been seeing things. At this moment, Lu Huaizhou would be too busy comforting Yi Wenhui to possibly be here. Even if he did somehow appear here by chance, there's no way he could catch up to me now. After a full day and night on the train, I finally made it back to the village. Right as I entered the village, I ran into Cui Ziyuan. I just came from your place. Your old man said you'd be returning any day now. Perfect timing. I'm here to help you with your school enrollment paperwork. I'm also delighted to meet Cui Ziyuan. He's a journalist who happened to witness me rescuing Lu Huaizhou and wrote a news report about it. That very article got me selected as the county's outstanding youth, which then helped my father successfully secure a worker-peasant-soldier university admission spot for me. In my past life, I never returned and wasted that opportunity. This time around, I won't let it slip through my fingers again. When I got home, my father's weather-beaten face lit up with a crinkled smile the moment he saw me. Sweetheart, have you made up your mind? If you go to college, it'll be years before you're back. By the time you return, that young Lu fellow might not wait around for you. I chuckled and told my old man, Dad, I'm not marrying him. These days, nobody repays a life debt with marriage anymore. But with your leg like this, it'll be hard to find a husband later. Father said worriedly, Dad, this is a new society where women hold up half the sky. Even with my lame leg, I can still contribute to our country. With knowledge and skills, I can support myself anywhere. I don't need a husband to survive. Cui Ziyuan, who'd returned with me, gave me a thumbs up. Yawning truly is a fine young socialist. She showed heroic self-sacrifice in danger, faces disability and prejudice with unshakable resolve, and pursues independence with iron will. A real heroine among women. Seeing that I wasn't bothered by these matters, my father finally stopped worrying. After that, I stayed home for 10 days while Cui Ziyuan busied himself getting all my paperwork sorted. The time had come for me to leave. On the morning of my departure, my father stood at the village entrance so long that his figure eventually disappeared from view, wiping away tear stains. I steeled my heart against the ache of parting. The rumbling bus carried me forward through golden sunlight, racing toward my own bright future. To reach my university, I first needed to catch a train from the provincial capital. My father insisted on sending me, and coincidentally, Cui Ziyuan had business there too, so we traveled together. Upon arrival, I entrusted my luggage to him and hurried to the train station to queue for tickets. Ticket in hand, I suddenly remembered, some of my belongings were still with Lu Huayan. I may not want to see him, but I'll be damned if I let him have my things for free. Besides, he's probably busy with Yi Wenhui right now. Doubt he'd spare a thought for my affairs. Back at the Lu residence, I unlocked the door to pitch-black darkness. Flipping the lights on revealed a living room in complete disarray. Lu Huayan's hopeless at housework. My absence these past few days clearly left him struggling. After searching around, I found my small bundle tossed in the corner of the living room, its contents strewn about in complete disarray. I couldn't tell if anything was missing from it. Just as I was about to check my old room, Lu Huayan returned with Yi Wenhui. What brings you back? Lu Huayan asked. Visibly surprised to see me, Yi Wenhui maintained her composure, giving me a slight nod before turning to enter my room. Frowning, I turned to Lu Huayan and asked, What's the meaning of this? Lu Huayan paused before explaining. Wenhui caught a cold recently with no one to look after her, so she'll be staying here for a couple days. Since you were away, I had her use your room temporarily. Let's not talk about that now. I want to know why you left without telling me. If I hadn't seen you at the train station that day, I wouldn't have even known you were gone. Next time you go somewhere, could you at least give me a heads up? So it wasn't my imagination. I really did see him at the train station that day. How pathetic. In this life and the last, he's never genuinely cared about where I go. Why the sudden act of affection now? That's just disgusting. You brought Yu Wenhui to stay over without even giving me a heads up. Cut the crap. I'm asking why you threw my stuff out and went through it without my permission. Lu Huiyan, don't you know that taking without asking is stealing? What you're doing is outright theft. I felt my anger boiling over. Lu Huiyan froze momentarily before finally pursing his lips to argue. Stealing? That's such an ugly way to put it. We're getting married soon. What's yours is mine, isn't it? Just as I was about to give Lu Huiyan a piece of my mind, Yu Wenhui suddenly emerged from the room. Who's been messing with my stuff? The $200 I kept under my pillow is gone. She turned to me. Did you take it? Yawning. I know you've got issues with me, but stealing my money, that was my hard-earned savings. Life's tough for a woman on her own. Please, just give me back my money. How ridiculous. I hadn't even accused her of stealing, yet she turns around and blames me instead. I saw red instantly. Stop your nonsense. I never set foot in that room. Don't you dare pin this on me. You accuse me of taking your money. Well, I say you rummaged through my bag. My money's missing too. With tears in her eyes, Yu Wenhui looked at Lu Huiyan pleadingly. Brother Lu, please ask Sister Yanning to return my money. Times are hard for me. Those 200 yuan are for my medical treatment. Lu Huiyan frowned deeply, seemingly lost in thought, before finally giving me an uneasy look. Yanning, give Wenhui her money back. If you're short on cash, I'll help you out. Just don't take hers. I wanted to argue further, but Lu Huiyan clearly believed Wenhui and insisted I return the money. Fine, let's search you and see if you've got any money on you. Seeing me momentarily speechless, Yu Wenhui grew smug and immediately pushed her advantage, with the two of them ganging up on me. I couldn't defend myself even if I wanted to, especially since I actually did have $200 in my pocket, even if it wasn't Yu Wenhui's missing money. There was no way to prove it, of course. I couldn't just let them frame me like this. Since nobody trusts anybody here, let's take this to the police station and sort it out. Left with no choice, I could only think of turning to the officers for help. Outwardly I appeared calm, but inwardly I was consumed with regret. I never should have come back just to save a few bucks on lodging, stirring up unnecessary trouble. My anger was trivial compared to how this delay might jeopardize my registration. At the mention of going to the police station, Lu Huiyan quickly tried to smooth things over. Wenhui, here's 200 yuan. Consider it compensation from me on Yanning's behalf. Please let this incident slide. Yanning, apologize to Wenhui right now, and we'll consider this matter closed. What nonsense are you talking? So they're just pinning the blame squarely on me. I was boiling with anger and panic. Yu Wenhui caught me off guard and went straight for my pocket, where I happened to have 200 yuan wrapped in a handkerchief, and yanked it right out. Now she was even more smug. The money's right here. How are you going to deny it? Weren't we going to the police station? Let's go right now. Yu Wenhui yanked me by the arm and dragged me into the courtyard. I struggled to break free from her grip, but to my surprise, she was much stronger than I expected. As neighbors began gathering along the walls, I knew Yu Wenhui wouldn't rest until she'd seen me locked up this time. This is my own money, not yours, I protested loudly, but it fell on deaf ears. After some back and forth, Lu Huiyan, Yu Wenhui, and I eventually found ourselves sitting in the police station. The officer on duty clearly recognized Lu Huiyan. Professor Lu, what brings you here? This must be your wife. No need to worry, it's just a minor domestic dispute. We've finished mediation, you'll be free to go shortly. The staff member spoke while stealing glances at both Yu Wenhui and me. Everyone knew Lu Huiyan had a lame fiancé, though Yu Wenhui was prettier and seemed better suited for him. My limping gait made me far more recognizable. Lu Huiyan frowned deeply and shook his head. I still expect you to judge this case fairly. Stealing is no trivial matter. If she's truly at fault, punish her accordingly. Don't show leniency just because of me. Lu Huiyan, I never imagined he could be this stupid and cruel. Didn't he realize he was utterly ruining me? Lu Huiyan's gaze met mine, a flicker of hesitation crossing his features before his lips curled into a chilling smirk. Qiu Yanning, I gave you a chance, but you threw it away, forcing this confrontation upon us. You've humiliated the Lu family beyond measure. This time, you will learn your lesson. Comrades, detain her as protocol demands. Let this be a lesson she won't forget. My heart sank. My train ticket was for tomorrow night, and I absolutely couldn't afford to be locked up here. Lu Huiyan, where's your proof that I stole money? This is a police station, not some place where you can make baseless accusations. Seeing my panic, Lu Huiyan said dismissively, scared now? weren't you so cocky back at home? Maybe a few days in here will help you reflect. We'll see if you've learned your lesson by the time you're out. Yi Wenwei shot me a smug look, linked arms with Lu Huaiyan, and turned to leave. They hadn't gone far before being stopped by the staff. Professor Lu, we'll need solid evidence before we can charge anyone. All of you need to be questioned. No one leaves until we have answers. Lu Huaiyan and Yi Wenwei paled but had no choice. They sat down to await the staff's decision. I turned to Yi Wenwei in front of the staff and challenged loudly, if you claim this 200 yuan is yours, then tell me how many Great Unity bills and how many steelmaking bills are in here. Yi Wenwei's face froze as she rolled her eyes at me. I can't remember, she retorted. I explained to the staff. This 200 yuan belongs to me, 15 Great Unity bills, 6 steelmaking bills, 15 tractor bills, and 10 half-yuan notes, and every single bill in this stack is facing right side up. Not a single one is placed backward. The staff unfolded the handkerchief wrapped around the money, revealing a neatly rolled bundle of cash. After inspecting it, they nodded and turned to question Yi Wenwei. You're accusing her of stealing this money. What proof do you have? While I was out, she sneaked into my room and rummaged through my things. When I got back, the 200 yuan I'd stashed under my pillow was gone, with no outsiders around. She's obviously the thief. I couldn't help firing back. Then explain this. How did your money end up under the pillow in my room? What do you mean yours? That's mine. Lu Huaiyan snapped to attention and warned sharply, Qiu Yanning, watch your words. The staff member looked utterly bewildered, their eyes darting between us like searchlights. Comrade Yi Wenwei, are you claiming you lost the money at Teacher Lu's place? That makes no sense. Yi Wenwei's face darkened at this moment, lowering her head in silence again. Lu Huaiyan clearly wanted to end the argument. Comrade, stealing itself has nothing to do with where the money was lost. I quickly continued my defense. Comrade, this money was collected by my father going door to door. Every bill has the character Ning written in pencil, as an exemplary youth who's been featured in newspapers. How could I possibly commit something as despicable as theft? With that, I took out the newspaper that had reported Lu Huaiyan's rescue and handed it to the staff member. The staff member examined the money again, glanced at the newspaper I'd handed over, then looked at Lu Huaiyan with noticeably colder tone. Professor Lu, Comrade Qiu Yanning's evidence checks out. Unless you can provide new proof that this money belongs to Comrade Yi, it rightfully belongs to Comrade Qiu. Finally, the suspicion against me was cleared. Lu Huaiyan and Yi Wenwei had lost their earlier bravado at the police station. After a brief silence, Lu said to me, Yanning, this isn't such a big deal. I'll have Wenwei apologize to you. Just sign the mediation agreement, and we can put this behind us. Oh, wonderful. First they tried to frame me for theft and send me to jail, and now that I'm cleared, they expect me to just let it slide. Since when does that make any sense? Ignoring Lu Huaiyan, I turned to the officer and asked, how many days detention do they get for false accusations and defamation? Follow procedure properly, however many days it should be. Don't go easy on them just because you know them. With the mediation efforts of the police station staff, this farce concluded with Yi Wenwei issuing me a public apology and compensating me 500 yuan for emotional distress. Lu Huaiyan covered the payment for Yi Wenwei. He happened to have just withdrawn his salary and handed me the money on the spot, witnessed by the staff. Seizing the moment while everyone was present, I took out those 200 yuan and returned them to Lu Huaiyan, saying, this was given to me by your mother. Now I'm returning it to its rightful owner. All the items your Lu family bought for me remain untouched at home. As for what's missing, ask Yi Wenwei. She's made a habit of helping herself without asking. See, I pointed at the bracelet on Yi Wenwei's wrist. Lu Huaiyan's face darkened with anger. Qiu Yanning, must you be so unreasonable? When Hui looks lovely wearing it, just let her keep it for a couple of days. I gave my permission. Must you be so petty? I stared wordlessly at the undisguised contempt on Lu Huaiyan's face, overwhelmed by a sudden sense of worthlessness. What a fool I'd been in my past life, blinded by infatuation, mistaking this man for some refined gentleman. Like a lovesick idiot, I'd thrown away my entire life on him. At least I'll have nothing more to do with the Lu family from now on. Everything from that household, their possessions, their money, disgusts me to the core. Right now, I just want to cut ties with them as soon as possible. Stepping out of the police station, daylight had fully broken. I'd taken all my belongings with me last night. There's nothing left here worth clinging to. Lu Huaiyan and I walked in opposite directions when he suddenly called out, aren't you going home? Where are you headed? You're right, I should be more generous. I'll get out of your way so you don't have to look at me anymore, I said to Lu Huaiyan with a smile. Lu Huaiyan turned pale with anger. Must you always have the last word? Fine, go. Reflect on your behavior before coming back. Lu Huaiyan stormed off in a huff with Yi Wenhui. I couldn't care less about his affairs. The next day, I met with Cui Ziyuan to retrieve my luggage, and he kindly saw me off at the station. Before leaving, I mailed a letter to Lu Huaiyan's mother explaining everything in detail, stating that our engagement was called off so we could both move on freely and happily. As for Lu Huaiyan, I trust his mother will make things clear to him. After 2 days on the rickety train, I finally arrived at my university. Only after completing the enrollment procedures did I finally feel at ease. Campus life brings me immense joy as I immerse myself in this ocean of knowledge. Things I could never access in my past life now lie before my eyes, and I treasure this hard-won opportunity all the more. Having journeyed thousands of miles from the north, I arrived at this southern school during autumn enrollment. Everyone jokingly called me a seasonal autumn goose, migrating south with the birds as nature intended. Following my teacher's recommendation, I visited a major hospital for my leg. Specialists diagnosed ligament damage but said surgery could help. While it won't fully recover, the operation should significantly improve my condition. Life was going smoothly until Lu Huaiyan unexpectedly tracked me down. He showed up near the semester's end. Right after my hospital discharge, my injured leg was still healing, yet somehow looked worse than before. With a frosty expression, Lu Huaiyan intercepted me on my way to the cafeteria. Qiu Yaning, are you done with this tantrum? Do you have any idea how hard it was to find you all the way out here? Lu Huaiyan dismissed my decision to attend university as a childish tantrum. You ran away without even discussing our marriage arrangement. I took a deep breath, struggling to maintain my composure. I wrote to your mother before coming here, explaining everything about our situation and the broken engagement. Lu Huaiyan glared at me impatiently. What do you mean clear things up? Don't you realize how much this affects me? Pack your things now and come home to marry me. These worker peasant soldier universities are useless. You won't learn anything worthwhile there. Once we're married, I'll provide for you. There's no need to work so hard. Just take care of household matters. Look at your leg. It's getting worse, isn't it? You'd be better off resting at home. Besides, with that limp of yours, who else would even want to marry you? It suddenly dawned on me that in my past life, that telegram notifying me of school admission was deliberately hidden in the corner by Lu Huaiyan. He never wanted me to attend that university. His deeply ingrained male chauvinism couldn't tolerate a woman surpassing him. Bound by outdated notions of men ruling outside while women govern the home, he fundamentally looked down upon women. Lu Huaiyan, I truly regret saving you. How much suffering did I endure for his sake back then? All these years, people have pitted him for ending up with a lame country girl like me. Such a brilliant young man deserves better. They say he didn't have to marry me. Nobody forced his hand, but I saved his life when we were trapped together for 2 days and a night. Then those journalists came, took our picture, splashed it across the papers. Suddenly the whole world knew about my heroic rescue, and with my father being the village party secretary, he saw our engagement as his ticket back to the city. That's all it ever was in my past life. I never considered these things. I was simply smitten by his strikingly handsome face. Overjoyed, I followed him back to the city and devoted my entire life to him, only to be deceived for decades. But now everything's different. I've finally made it to university through my own efforts, embracing a brand new life. How could I possibly return to that suffocating place? With this conviction, I declared firmly to Lu Huaiyan, as the new generation, we all bear the responsibility to acquire knowledge, shine with our talents, and contribute our share to building socialism. Every single person, regardless of gender or age. Frankly, what you just said is utterly unworthy of an intellectual in this new era. The onlooking students cheered and applauded while Lu Huaiyan turned ashen, forced to flee in disgrace amid the crowd's jeers too. From that day onward, Lu Huaiyan never showed his face again. At first, we exchanged a few letters, then eventually even those stopped coming naturally. I stopped worrying about him and simply focused on enjoying my college life to the fullest. Years later, dressed in a tailored suit, I walked confidently onto the awards podium. No one could tell I'd once been a cripple. As I received the Outstanding Social Contribution Award trophy from the presenter, thunderous applause erupted from the audience. I realized I've truly become my authentic self in this lifetime. I've lived a life without regrets. After the awards ceremony, Cui Ziyuan and I reminisced about our hometown memories. In the end, Lu Huaiyan married Yi Wenhui. After all, when Yi Wenhui's pregnancy came to light, it severely damaged Lu Huaiyan's reputation. People called him ungrateful and promiscuous, which is why he desperately sought me out, hoping marriage would silence the gossip. But things didn't go as planned. He applied for a transfer, but someone posted a damning public notice about him on the company bulletin board, effectively sabotaging his relocation plans. The child wasn't Lu Huaiyan's, It belonged to Yi Wenhui's other lover. She'd only dated Lu in the first place because she saw him as an easy mark. When Lu Huiyan found out, he had a massive falling out with Yi Wenhui, but Ye's family stormed into Lu's workplace, adamantly insisting the child was his. Under mounting pressure, Lu was forced to marry her. Yi Wenhui was never the domestic type to begin with. After marriage, their household descended into utter chaos, and Lu Huiyan himself became slovenly and depressed. Lu's mother had poor health while still caring for her own mother-in-law. No sooner had they laid the elderly woman to rest than Lu's mother became bedridden. Needless to say, Yi Wenhui provided wretched care. Rumor has it the old woman died covered in her own filth, a sight too appalling to behold. When I heard this, I simply laughed it off. None of this concerns me anymore. I dragged Cui Ziyuan along to the victory party for some serious drinking. On the way to the hotel, I thought I heard someone call out, yawning, "I regret it," but I paid no attention. Some people are better left unseen. Let those memories drift away with the wind. No more meetings in this life. Southbound geese need not ask of returns. The end. Story 2. Someone tampered with my drinking water the day before the joint college entrance exam. My best friend surpassed me and secured the only guaranteed admission spot. My childhood sweetheart comforted me. "Don't worry, you'll have another shot at the national college entrance exam." But I was kidnapped on the day of the college entrance exam, and my childhood sweetheart missed his chance to take it while rescuing me. Out of gratitude, I married my childhood sweetheart years later. My glamorous best friend who graduated from a prestigious university came to attend my wedding. Then I accidentally overheard a conversation between my husband and her. Ran, it's all thanks to you making her miss both exams, otherwise I'd never have been able to marry her. Su Ran smirked coldly. What did she expect, being that old hag's daughter? If I don't grind her into the dirt, how could my mother ever outshine that woman? Blinded by rage, I rammed my car into them all, leaving them permanently disabled, and earning myself a death sentence. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself reborn back in senior year of high school. Nan, let me fill your water bottle for you. You can squeeze in 2 more practice problems during this break. Su Ran stood before me, speaking in a timid voice. Without waiting for my response, she took the empty cup from my desk. My childhood friend He Jing walked over from the back row and sat down beside me. Nan, Ran treats you so well. Even though she's perpetually second place, she still gives up her break time to help you practice problems. The way she said it made it sound like I was taking advantage of Su Ran. The surrounding classmates glanced over with mixed expressions. Someone whispered, "Is Shin Nan bullying the school belle? Weren't they childhood friends? Why does the school belle seem so submissive around her? Growing up together just makes you more vulnerable to emotional manipulation." He Jing listened with an amused glint in his eyes, but feigned anger as he barked at them. "Shut up, all of you. Nan isn't that kind of person." When silence fell, He Jing gazed at me with undisguised tenderness. Nan, no matter how many people misunderstand you, I'll always have your back, psycho." I ignored He Jing without even batting an eye. This was the exact day in my past life I drank the water Su Ran gave me, got severe diarrhea until dehydration knocked me out cold, and completely missed the joint college entrance exam. With me out of the picture as competition, Su Ran finally broke her runner-up curse and clinched first place. My homeroom teacher told me with genuine regret, "I know your capabilities, but school policies are non-negotiable. Since you missed the exam, the recommendation spot automatically goes to Su Ran, including." My homeroom teacher knew my background and how much this top score reward meant to me. Her voice trembled with reluctant sympathy. "Even the privilege of 4-year tuition-free university education must be granted to Su Ran. I'm an orphan, abandoned since childhood. It was Grandma He Jing who took me in. The He family wasn't well off. Grandma He brought me home to raise me as He Jing's child bride. That way He Jing won't need to spend a dime when he gets married. I did everything for the He family: laundry, cooking, feeding chickens, raising pigs, yet I never had enough to eat or wear. Thankfully, the 9-year compulsory education became universal. The village party secretary came to the He household with the police, and that's how I finally got to attend school. Junior and senior high school were tuition-free. I just needed to take odd jobs in my spare time to cover living expenses, but university tuition was another story, prohibitively expensive. I've studied relentlessly these 3 years for this very moment, the full 4-year tuition waiver that comes with acing these joint entrance exams. The He family wouldn't pay for my college, nor would they allow me to attend university. They feared that if I went to college and broadened my horizons, I'd refuse to marry He Jing, so they tried every means to keep me trapped in this backward, impoverished mountain region in my past life. After failing The entrance exam. I returned to school to retrieve a cup for hospital testing, but the cup was nowhere to be found. I went to check the classroom surveillance footage with my homeroom teacher, only to be told the cameras had been broken for over a week. The last recorded image showed He-jing dribbling a basketball in class. The ball bounced up and smashed the camera. I wasn't entirely free of suspicion toward He-jing regarding these coincidences. It wasn't until he abandoned his college entrance exams to search for me that my doubts were dispelled, yet who could have imagined this was all his carefully orchestrated act, just to bind me in lifelong guilt toward him. He knew he'd never pass the university exams, and he couldn't focus on studying anyway. He was afraid I'd climb the social ladder by attending a prestigious university, so he conspired with Su Ran to sabotage my future. Su Ran placed the filled water glass on my desk. She gave me a timid smile, her eyes brimming with cautious ingratiation. Nan, I mixed half hot and half cold water for you. It's just the right temperature now. You can drink it. My eyes stayed fixed on the test questions as I gave a non-committal, Couldn't be bothered to look at her. She bit her lip, her eyes instantly welling up with tears. Nan, did I do something wrong? You're being so distant. Saran was well liked in class, and with her striking looks, many rushed to defend her. Class rep, who do you think you are? The campus belle doesn't owe you anything. She even fetched water for you, and this is how you treat her. Can't even say thank you. I didn't even look up. Thanks. My accuser froze mid-sentence, and Su Ran was stunned too. The school bell rang. Su Ran reluctantly returned to her seat. I glanced at my cup, then at the identical one on Su Ran's desk. Su Ran and He-jing were from the same village, though her family was slightly better off. Most of my belongings were hand-me-downs from Saran after she'd used them. I'm always grateful for this, though she loves teasingly announcing it in front of crowds. That dress Nan's wearing, I gave it to her. Way too baggy on me but fits her perfectly. She's always making remarks like that. In elementary school, my classmates mocked me for being like a beggar, treasuring whatever Su Ran discarded. Later in middle and high school, she'd always buy 2 of everything just to give me 1. If I refused, she'd give it to Granny He instead. Just when I thought I'd shaken off the beggar label, I got branded as a copycat instead. Every penny I earn from odd jobs goes back to Su Ran. I refuse to owe her anything. I've always believed nobody's perfect. We all have our flaws and shortcomings. Judge actions, not intentions. No one's record is spotless when scrutinized. Whatever her motives were, at least she provided me clothes to wear and a cup to use. Only on my deathbed did I learn the truth. I was actually her half-sister. Her malice toward me wasn't just in my head after all. Through the small mirror, I saw Saran's venomous gaze fixed on my cup. I deliberately unscrewed the lid, watching her pupils dilate slightly and her lips twitch with anticipation. The next instant, I tightened the cap again. Her pupils contracted sharply as she clenched her jaw, fingernails digging into her palms. For the entire class, I kept relentlessly fraying her nerves like this. Her once clear eyes had become bloodshot by the end of the lesson. Her body trembled uncontrollably. I found it almost amusing. With such weak nerves, she still dared to misbehave. When the school bell rang, Su Ran suddenly sprang to her feet. I instantly grabbed my cup, throat bobbing as I took a few performative sips of water. Only then did she settle back into her seat with a relieved sigh. I screwed the cap back on and slumped over the desk, feigning exhaustion. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw her pulling He-jing outside. Seizing their absence, I poured the water from my cup into an empty mineral water bottle and concealed it in my backpack. The emptied cup was placed back on the table. When Su Ran returned, she deliberately walked past me and picked up my cup. The lighter weight made her irrepressibly happy. Nan, let me refill your water for you. With that, she grabbed my cup and ran out with a smile. During the next class, I pretended to clutch my stomach in pain while shedding tears. In the mirror, Su Ran couldn't help but curve her lips into a smile, locking eyes with He-jing in the back row. Seizing the moment, I clutched my stomach and stood up to ask the English teacher for leave. Teacher, I suddenly got this terrible stomachache. The English teacher was my favorite instructor, who also happened to be my homeroom teacher in my past life. He pulled every string he could to help me. Even when I missed my college entrance exams, he went to Grandma He's house, offering to pay for my repeat year, only to get beaten over the head with a broom and thrown out. To make matters worse, Grandma He stormed into the school and made a huge scene, publicly accusing my homeroom teacher of having improper intentions toward me. This led to the teacher being suspended and facing complaints and verbal abuse from parents. Yet even then, when He-jing took me south for migrant work, that teacher still sent me encouraging messages. Nan, you may have missed the college entrance exam, but you haven't missed out on your entire future. You can always return to school through self-study programs for adult education, or explore other paths. Life is long, never give up on yourself. Now, my Homeroom teacher saw me in this disheveled state, drenched in sweat with unstoppable tears. They immediately contacted the school nurse to take me to the infirmary, having endured the agony of dehydration in my past life. Playing the part comes effortlessly this time around. When Sue Ran and Jing came to check on me, they finally felt reassured enough to return to class after seeing me pale-faced and constantly running to the restroom. During the last evening self-study session, I asked my homeroom teacher for leave to be hospitalized at an outside clinic. The homeroom teacher lamented in the classroom. How could this happen? Shannan actually got hospitalized at such a critical time. The joint exams are tomorrow. No way. I've got to go check on her. After the homeroom teacher left, Sue Ran and Jing were overjoyed. Sue Ran even started humming a tune on her way back. I skipped morning self-study the next day. Sue Ran noticed my empty seat and felt a weight lift from her chest. We were assigned to different schools for the exams. My homeroom teacher, concerned about my illness, personally escorted me to the exam venue. I didn't return to school until after the exam was over. Saran spotted me and hurried over with a sad expression. Nan, what a shame. How could you miss the exam? I just smiled. Don't worry, there's still the college entrance exam. She let out a smug humph, deliberately drawing it out. This joint exam could get you direct admission, with full tuition. Waiver 2. The class bell rang as she returned to her seat, finding a note tucked under her water bottle. I woke up early that morning and forged Jing's handwriting to write, "Enjoy your drink." Ran on the note. I poured all the mineral water I'd secretly substituted that day into Sue Ran's cup. She took a sip from the cup, her lips curling into a blissful smile. When Jing walked past Sue Ran carrying a basketball, she blushed and gave him a coy wink. Jing scratched his head in confusion, then responded with a smile. Sue Ran became even more certain the note came from Jing. Sue Ran finished the entire glass of water before the class ended. When class dismissed, she'd barely stood up to find Jing when she suddenly clutched her stomach, collapsing to the floor in convulsions. Clutching her stomach, she scrambled up from the floor and bolted to the restroom. She never returned for 2 full class periods. The homeroom teacher sent someone to look for her. They finally found her in the hallway outside the restroom. She was unconscious from dehydration. Just like I was in my past life. Jing frowned as Sue Ran was carried out. He came up to me and asked, Nan, why does Sue Ran's condition look so similar to yours back then, only much worse? He wasn't whispering, and half the class heard him. Yeah, class president. Did you get the school bell? You're cold. Don't get us sick too. The college entrance exams are coming up. We can't afford to follow now. Shannan, if you're sick, just drop out already. Stop holding everyone back. We all know you're some penniless orphan. Who knows what kind of disease you can't afford to treat? The campus beauty probably got infected from being around you. Accusations and insults flew thick and fast. I looked at Jing, but there wasn't a trace of concern for me in his eyes. His mood visibly improved as the voices humiliating me grew louder. Jing always claims to love me, saying I'm the most important person in his life, yet his so-called love constantly puts me in humiliating situations. When the homeroom teacher walked in at that moment, the students immediately exclaimed, "Teacher, Sue Ran's condition is exactly like Shannan's was back then. She must have caught it from Shannan. We're about to take the college entrance exams. What if she infects all of us? Make her take a leave of absence, or we'll file a collective complaint with the Education Bureau." Jing took perverse pleasure in putting me in situations where everyone would despise me. Every time this happened, he'd swoop in like some knight in shining armor, standing between me and the world, ready to fight my battles. Yet all these storms were clearly brought by him. I watched his performance with cold detachment. True enough, the next second he stepped in front of me, turning his back toward me. What nonsense are you spouting? Nan isn't an orphan. She's been adopted by my family. I won't tolerate your baseless accusations. Nan isn't sick at all. Last time she just had food poisoning, and now Sue Ran clearly has the same symptoms, classic foodborne illness. Jing turned back and gazed at me tenderly. Nan, with me here, no one will ever bully you. The students were still murmuring when the homeroom teacher slammed her book on the desk. Do you have proof? Any evidence that Shannan infected Sue Ran? How dare you spread baseless rumors? All those years of education wasted on you. The classroom instantly fell dead silent. Someone couldn't help but whisper, but their symptoms are clearly identical. The homeroom teacher raised her voice. I personally accompanied Saran to the hospital for 4 fluids and all necessary tests that night when she fell ill. Do you think I don't know whether she's sick or not? I pulled out the medical report from that day. Read it carefully, all of you. And those who were barking like dogs earlier, you owe me an apology. After passing the report around, the classmates reluctantly fell silent. The document ended up in Jing's hands. The Results clearly show I don't have any medical condition, the homeroom teacher said angrily. Shannan just has pre-exam syndrome causing stomachache and restroom urgency. How could that compare to Zhou Ran's situation? The classmates all fell silent. The smile vanished from He Jing's eyes the moment he finished reading the list. His head jerked up as he stared at me in disbelief. I met his gaze with icy composure. My glare sent chills down his spine. Nan, you. I shot him a look of disgust. He Jing, get the hell away from me, you make me sick to my stomach. With that, I returned to my seat and began working through practice problems, leaving He Jing to endure the scrutinizing gazes of classmates and our homeroom teacher. The homeroom teacher said disapprovingly, He Jing, Shannan represents our entire school's hopes. Her academic success will inspire countless underclassmen to follow. Could you stop holding her back? I'm begging you as your teacher. Her score is 3 1/3 times yours. How can you even have the nerve? He Jing turned deathly pale and staggered back to his seat. All day long, his ghostly stare followed me. When classmates asked him to visit Su Ran at the hospital together, he refused. He Jing and I are nothing alike. I earned my place in this high school, while his family bought his way in. Before he transferred here, everyone knew I was an orphan, yet no one ever mocked me for it. They even crowdfunded my tuition together, encouraging me to focus on my studies. Ever since He Jing arrived, any guy who gets close to me, he'd go and tell everyone about it. His grandmother took me in off the streets. I was his child bride. I'm meant to marry him someday. Since I've eaten the He family's rice, I belong to the He family now. High school life was pretty monotonous for everyone, especially in top-tier high schools, with endless cram sessions and mountains of test papers. Under that kind of intense pressure, when gossip like that surfaced, it practically swept through the entire grade. I became the laughingstock of everyone. Whenever people saw me, they'd start teasing He Jing. He Jing, your child bride is here. The jeering laughter humiliated me, grinding my fragile self-esteem into the dirt. He Jing was thoroughly enjoying it. With Su Ran fanning the flames, everyone formed a terrible impression of me. They said I bullied Su Ran out of jealousy for her beauty. The label of copycat haunted my youth like an inescapable nightmare, shadowing my every step. Escaping these mountains and getting out of this county town became my sole reason for enduring high school. When school let out that afternoon, He Jing approached me with his usual bag of tricks. To be fair, He Jing was quite easy on the eyes. He knows his strengths and plays the victim card masterfully in front of me every single time. Before I even feel sorry for him, other girls would jump to his defense. Nan, Grandma made dinner and is waiting for you to come home. I packed my books into my bag. I'm not going back. He Jing, I'm never coming back again. A flicker of panic flashed in his eyes. What do you mean? Literally what it says. I handed him an official form stamped with the relevant department's seal. It clearly stated the termination of adoptive relationship. He Jing, I have no ties with your He family anymore, nor with you. If you keep spreading lies about me being your child bride destined to marry you, I'll sue your grandmother for child trafficking and unlawful confinement. He Jia stared at the words on the watch, lips trembling. Shannan, how could you do this? My grandmother raised you all these years. How could you be so ungrateful? And now you're slandering her like this. More and more classmates gathered to watch the commotion. The school gives a day and a half off every Friday, so students from other classes often come to ours while waiting for friends. The classroom was packed with onlookers, both inside and out. He Jing's booming voice reached everyone's ears. The chorus of condemnation against me rose once more. Though He Jing performed poorly academically, he excelled at crafting loaded narratives. He always puts people on a moral pedestal just to criticize them, then positions himself as the most innocent party. I sneered. Your grandmother only took me in to save on your future bride price. I came to your home and had to stand on a stool learning to cook at just 4 years old. I didn't even have decent clothes to wear. In the dead of winter, my feet turned blue from the cold while you got to warm yourself by the fire. When we reached school age, you went to class while I stayed home cutting pigweed and feeding chickens. The village secretary visited multiple times, saying education was compulsory, but your grandmother wouldn't even register me for household registration, terrified I might run away. In the end, the village party secretary said your grandmother had no legal guardianship over me, so they were going to send me to an orphanage. Your grandmother only registered my household residency because she was afraid I'd run away. It wasn't until the police came that I could finally attend school. I was only 16 that year, just a sophomore in high school. He Jing flushed with humiliation before suddenly glaring at me and roaring, "Shut your mouth." I sneered defiantly, though my eyes grew increasingly bloodshot as I spoke. Why shouldn't I speak? Didn't you call me ungrateful? Didn't you claim your grandmother raised me when I was just 14? Your grandmother locked you in my room at midnight. I want you to force yourself on me. Take my body, then I can't run away anymore. and I'll have no choice but to marry you. If I hadn't stabbed myself with scissors and scared you off, you and your grandmother would have ruined me long ago. You're just counting on this being about my reputation, aren't you? That as a girl, I'd be too ashamed to speak up. That's why you've been so brazen, He-jing. I've shed all shame now. All I want is to ace my college entrance exams and live a decent life. You claim your grandmother raised me. Have I ever taken a single penny from your family all these years? My tuition and living expenses were fully covered. I worked side jobs in my free time, yet back at your place I did all the chores. Hell, your grandmother even took my earnings. What exactly has your family ever done for me? What kindness, what loyalty? I advanced step by step, each word striking like a hammer blow. The previously quiet classroom erupted into a chorus of curses directed at He-jing. Have you no shame, He-jing? After all the things you've been saying about this, you made everyone think you and the class monitor were an item, when it was just your pathetic one-sided crush. This is practically human trafficking. The class monitor's grades are stellar, yet He-jing still acts like a delusional toad eyeing swan meat. That poor class monitor suffers worse than child labor. A torrent of verbal abuse kept slapping He-jing across the face. After all, he's just a high school senior, that age when pride and self-respect mean everything. He kicked over a nearby desk with a furious roar, shoving through the crowd to escape. The desk belonged to the class athletic committee member. The committee member grabbed He-jing by the collar. What's your problem, He-jing? Can't take the heat. Why the hell are you kicking my desk? Don't you have your own damn desk? He-jing punched the class rep square in the face. Get your hands off me, asshole. The two started brawling, inevitably knocking into nearby classmates. Male classmates who'd always disliked He-jing quickly joined the fray. What began as a fistfight between two soon escalated into a full-blown brawl. I deliberately ignored He-jing's cries of pain, calmly gathering my belongings with practiced indifference as I slung my backpack over my shoulder and slipped out the back door. I ran straight into our homeroom teacher waiting at the entrance. He looked at me with unreadable eyes. I don't know how long I'd been listening. My lips parted, then I lowered my gaze. Through 2 lifetimes, I've carried nothing but shame toward this mentor. He had high expectations for me and spared no effort to help me throughout those 3 years. The 9-year compulsory education only waived my tuition fees. There were still living expenses and textbook costs at school, especially the photocopying fees for exam papers at our elite high school, which became a significant financial burden for me. In my previous life, I thought it was only after our homeroom teacher repeatedly pleaded with the principal that my living expenses, textbook fees, and copying costs were waived. It wasn't until years later when I returned home and ran into a retired teacher from the school that I finally learned the truth. The principal had only agreed to waive my living expenses. All other fees had been quietly covered by my homeroom teacher, but that wasn't all. He noticed I'd spend my one day off each week doing odd jobs, backbreaking manual labor. When he found out, he paid me to tutor his elementary school son at his home. It sounds ridiculous now. I didn't understand the significance of this until I grew up. With years of teaching experience, how could a homeroom teacher possibly fail to educate an elementary school child? He was clearly going all out to help me, yet still mindful of my fragile adolescent pride. Now living a second life, meeting his gaze brought an unexpected lump to my throat. He reached out and patted my shoulder. Shannan, even phoenixes can rise from mountain villages. Just as phoenix trees grow in valleys, you'll definitely live the life you've dreamed of. His eyes were slightly reddened as my gaze swept over our classmates nearby. Their eyes held either shame or guilt, but not a trace of mockery. That night, I was sound asleep in the dorm. The dorm supervisor called me down to answer the phone. He-jing's voice trembled with grievance. On the other end of the line, Nan, don't hang up. I need to talk to you. You know everything now, don't you? Suran drugged you, but I had nothing to do with it. Nan, you can't blame me for this. I fought back nausea. Our accomplice is really innocent. His voice choked with emotion. Nan, I was just afraid you'd leave me, afraid that after getting into a good university, you'd meet someone new and abandon me. I can't live without you. I let out a scornful laugh. He-jing, we were never together. Could you stop being so full of yourself? He gasped sharply. You're still mad at me, aren't you? And about the college entrance exams, Nan, even if you rank in the top 10, your tuition would still be sponsored. Even if no one else supports you, I'll earn the money to put you through school. Nan, I'll prove to you how determined I am to make things right. I hung up before he could respond. After returning to school, Saran cornered He-jing between classes. Why haven't you come to see me in the hospital all these days? He-jing shot me a glance before snapping at her with deliberate detachment. Just stay away from me. Suran's eyes welled up instantly. What do you mean? I wouldn't have gotten sick if I hadn't drunk that water you gave me. He-jing shoved her away abruptly. Are you out of your mind? I never fetched you any water. He looked at me pleadingly. Nan, I swear I never poured water for her. I let out a scoff and ignored him. Suran suddenly realized something, strode over in 2 steps, and grabbed my wrist forcefully. It was you, wasn't it? I slapped her hand hard. I don't understand what you're saying, Suran said angrily. Are you getting back at me? Why would I want revenge? What exactly did you do to deserve it? Tough question. Suran arched an eyebrow, glancing at He Jing, who averted his gaze. Suran let out a cold laugh. Shen Nan, aren't you afraid I'll call the police? Your life would be ruined. I smiled. Then go check the surveillance footage. He Jing was too guilty to even look at me, and slipped out through the back door. Only Suran and I remained in the classroom. Suran stood with arms crossed, looking down at me with condescension. Who would have thought? Shen Nan, all these years you've been putting on such an act. Turns out you're just petty and vindictive at heart. But what's the point of your revenge? You still missed the unified exam. The top spot is mine. The school's only direct admission quota is mine. The full 4-year tuition waiver goes to me. Truth is, I don't need those exam rewards at all. But since I know they're your last hope, I'm just not giving them to you. Enjoy rotting in this backwater town for the rest of your life. I let out a careless chuckle. Oh really? We'll see about that. Suran tilted her head back with a contemptuous snicker. Keep pretending then. The joint exam results came out during evening study hall. The homeroom teacher placed the printed score sheet on the lectern. He cradled his thermos with a beaming smile. Come up and take a look. Suran sat smugly in his seat, staring at me motionlessly with unmistakable challenge in his eyes. I took a sip of water and remained still. I let the other students crowd around the podium to check the scoreboard. Suran waited for her classmates to exclaim her name in surprise, but what came instead was, the gap between first and second place is insane, over 100 points difference. Holy cow, Suran's grin was practically splitting her face, but the next moment, our class president is killing it. The school beauty isn't even in the same league. Suran's face flushed crimson as she sprang to her feet. What are you saying? This can't be true. Like a madwoman, she shoved her classmates aside, rushed to the podium, grabbed the score sheet, and stared at it wide-eyed again and again. No matter how hard she beat her own head or blinked her eyes in disbelief, the name Shen Nan still stared back at me. Her hands trembled as she looked at me with bloodshot eyes. Completely broken, she rushed up to me and lashed out. You lied to me, Shen Nan, you lied. I grabbed her hand and whispered coldly in her ear. Do you know why I didn't retaliate when you sabotaged my college entrance exam? Because crushing you would have been effortless for me. I wanted you to see the insurmountable gap between us. Suran, when you're outmatched, you've got to admit it. I shook off her hand, and she collapsed to the ground in hysterical sobs just like my past self in my previous life. When I woke up realizing I'd missed the college entrance exams, my world came crashing down. Everything turned pitch black. At least there's still the college entrance exam, but after missing that too, I just wanted to die. Later, He Jing and I went south for work, and I kept earning money to self-study for the exams, those joint practice tests and college entrance exams I missed that year. For years afterward, I could recite it backward in my sleep because it was the life I let slip away. When He Jing returned from sports practice and heard I'd topped the entrance exams, he froze for several seconds before falling silent. Unlike Suran's emotional outburst and screaming, he remained composed. Yet I found myself face to face with an unexpected visitor. Suran's father. The man gave me a faint smile. In the principal's office. He owns a large supermarket in the city, and his hometown is just a stone's throw from the He family's place. I called him Uncle Su for 18 years. He watched the He family abuse me, even nearly making me stateless, yet never showed me an ounce of mercy. From the villagers' gossip, I pieced together the story of Su Wenyuan's ex-wife, my mother. She died from massive hemorrhage during a difficult childbirth. Both mother and child were dead. Within 2 weeks of their deaths, Su Wenyuan brought home a heavily pregnant woman on the verge of delivery. That woman was Suran's mother. After the principal left, only Su Wenyuan and I remained in the office. He looked at me with a tender smile, his face full of paternal affection. You've grown up so well. What an achievement. You're the first child from our village to get into a prestigious university. Truly remarkable. The more he looked at me, the more pleased he became. It wasn't the gaze of a father looking at his daughter, but rather at his own pride and trophy. I said distantly, Uncle Su, is there something you need? He sighed, his eyes instantly reddening. Nan, the truth is, I'm your father. I couldn't acknowledge you before because of your Aunt Zhang. Now that you're grown and about to start college, even if she divorces me, I still want you back in my life. I don't believe you, having lived 2 lifetimes. Acting came naturally to me now. Su Wenyuan took me to the hospital for a DNA test. When the results came, I collapsed into his arms, sobbing uncontrollably. Dad, you never knew how much I wished you were my father when I saw you doting on Ranran. As a child, I never imagined you actually were my father. Su Wenyuan took me back to the countryside villa he'd built. When Su Ran saw me, she completely lost it. Charging over to shove me violently, I collapsed to the ground, silent tears streaming down my face. Su Wenyuan saw red and slapped Su Ran across the face. "She's your elder sister. How dare you? Get back to your room this instant." Su Ran fled in tears while Auntie Zhang stood by, grinding her teeth in fury. With Su Wenyuan's help, I finally managed to transfer my household registration out of the He family. Grandma he had stubbornly refused at first. Su Wenyuan hired some local thugs to provide security for his supermarket. He Jing got ambushed several times on his way home, beaten black and blue with sacks thrown over his head. The worst time, they broke his leg. Granny he wailed like a banshee before finally handing over my household register. I successfully transferred my household registration out of the He family. What seemed impossible for me was child's play for Su Wenyuan. It takes a thief to catch a thief. After getting the direct admission, I no longer needed to attend school. I stayed home cooking meals and preparing soups for Su Wenyuan daily, playing the role of a dutiful daughter to perfection. These were all things Su Ran had never done before. Su Ran is utterly spoiled. With her as comparison, even my smallest virtues get magnified in Su Wenyuan's eyes. Hearing Su Wenyuan praise me daily drove Su Ran into worsening emotional turmoil. She couldn't stand me fawning over Su Wenyuan, nor him showing me any kindness. She couldn't bear the sight of our father-daughter affection. She threw tantrums, she wept, she smashed plates and bowls. Then Su Wenyuan would scold her, sometimes even resorting to physical violence when things got really bad. And so, every day in the Su household became trapped in this vicious cycle. Under this emotional strain, Su Ran found it impossible to focus on her studies. On the day of the college entrance exam, I showed up right on time. She glared at me furiously. "What are you doing here?" I chuckled. "Take the test again, and I'll show you." Losing to me was no fluke. I looked into her eyes. "It's just the way things are. You'll always be my loser. Every time, you'll lose to me. That's your fate, Su Ran. You must accept your destiny." Her eyes burned with rage and hatred, but beneath it all lay sheer terror. I walked into the examination hall while she remained frozen in place. I messed with her head when the college entrance exam results came out. Su Ran scored over 200 points less than me, barely scraping into a second-tier university. Su Wenyuan looked disgusted. "Couldn't even get into a top-tier university. After all the money I've poured into you over the years, the tutoring fees alone could have bought an apartment in the city. Useless waste." Su Ran broke down in uncontrollable sobs. I brought out the soup I'd been simmering. "Dad, please don't be angry. Have some soup first. You're not in good health. You really need to take care of yourself." Aunt Zhang was so furious she knocked over my soup and came at me. Su Wenyuan slapped him right back. The house was in complete chaos. I packed my bags noisily in the dead of night, making sure to be heard. Sure enough, Su Wenyuan came out to see what I was up to. I sobbed quietly. "Mom's gone, and now you're all I have left. Dad, as much as I want to live with you, I don't want to disrupt your life. I found a part-time job at an education center in Beijing. I'll call you often to check in when I can." Su Wenyuan wiped his tears with the back of his hand and handed me a bank card. "There's 150,000 yuan in this card. Use it for now, and let me know if you need more." I politely declined for a while before finally accepting it. During my college years, my outstanding academic performance made Su Wenyuan the envy of all our rural relatives. Compared to me, Su Ran started seeming ungrateful. Su Wenyuan and Su Ran's mother fought constantly. What kind of feelings could you expect from a cheating husband who abandoned his wife and daughter? God knows how many women Su Wenyuan had on the side. I played the sweet-talking viper to perfection, conning Su Wenyuan into funding my master's, PhD, and ultimately my study abroad. For uneducated status-obsessed men like Su Wenyuan, the prestige halo of advanced degrees is downright intoxicating. After returning from overseas, I took a job at Su Wenyuan's supermarket. Within 2 years, I'd successfully siphoned off all his assets, leaving the supermarket a hollow shell. And I left this place too. My household registration was transferred with my university enrollment years ago. Su Ran's mother divorced Su Wenyuan, who nearly lost his mind. Years of debauchery had drained his vitality. He was terminally ill and had called me countless times. I reluctantly answered his call just before changing my SIM card. He begged me for medical expenses. Pleading for help, I just smiled and said, "Uncle Su, my mother's been gone 18 years. You've overstayed your welcome by just as long. Hurry up and join her. You won't get a dime from me while you're alive, but after you're gone, I'll cover every penny for your funeral." I hung up before his curses could reach me. He didn't make it through the winter. On the day I died, I stepped back into this city I'd once loathed with every fiber of my being. At Su Wenyuan's funeral, I had them write my mother's name instead. The opera singers, drummers, and monks chanting Sutras, I arranged them all for my mother. I even had my mother's grave rebuilt. The guests were utterly dumbfounded, yet none dared to speak up. The stage performance was in full swing while the banquet guests dined contentedly. Someone murmured under their breath, "It was He Jing who pushed me away." The two of them grappled violently, and Su Ren severed He Jing's hand with a single slash. As the police hauled Su Ren away, he kept hurling curses at me. Before the ambulance took He Jing away, he gave me a faint smile. "Nan Nan, thank goodness you're alright." I smirked sarcastically. "Another scheme you and Saran cooked up together. Huh, you really went all out this time. He Jing, what if that hand never heals properly?" His face instantly drained of color. He opened his mouth as if to speak, but ultimately pressed his lips together in silent defeat. "Nan Nan, I'm sorry, don't, it makes me sick." After the funeral, I buried Su Wenyuan far, far away. When he buried my mother, there wasn't even a tombstone, just a small mound of earth. Now I'd done the same to him. I lied to him even after death. I couldn't bring myself to spend money on him. After all, I'm flat broke. Uncle Su should understand me, right? The end. Next story. In my previous life, Shen Yanzhou, as a representative of the jury, blocked my promotion qualification for 10 years. He said, "As my wife, you must avoid suspicion. It's only the second year, there's still a chance." Year 5, Lin Rui, you should give more opportunities to young people. If the older generation hadn't retired, how could it have been so easy for us to get a job at a research institute? In the last year, I knew that if I didn't get promoted I would have to retire, so I begged him for help. But the next day, the first person on the promotion list was his white moonlight. This time he who always sounded dignified, he actually used all his connections to reject me again. I was filled with endless regret and was so angry that I almost died. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the day when I received my promotion application. 1. Lin Rui, I'm going to work. Remember to go find the teacher and get your suspension application back. I heard the door close and I sat up suddenly from the bed. Looking at this old house that was built 30 or 40 years ago, I realized that I was truly reborn back to 1977. This year is our second year of marriage. Shen Yanzhou and I were admitted to Northwestern Polytechnical University together, but just last night, because Shen Yanzhou's mother broke her leg. The result of our discussion was I withdrew my application for suspension, gave up the opportunity to go to college, and stayed to continue working in the military factory. He went to Northwestern University as planned. I wanted to continue to take the college entrance examination the following year, but I got pregnant and had to put my plan on hold later. We were separated for more than 10 years. Over the years, I had been raising my children and taking care of my parents by myself while working. But when I finally became a technician and just entered the research institute, Shen Yanzhou came back. Because of his outstanding resume, he became the head of the research institute. Later, I spent 10 years trying to make further progress, but was stuck every year. He rejected me in the first year because I was his wife. She was afraid of gossip, so she rejected me. Let me take the exam again next year. The next year, he said I still had a chance and could learn more skills and knowledge. Until the 5th year, I was still the one who was eliminated. I asked humiliatedly why. Why did the leaders of the entire research institute think that I had strong skills? But he was the one who rejected me. He was silent for a while and then said, "Lin Rui, you should give more opportunities to young people. If the older generation hadn't retired, how could it have been so easy for us to get a job at a research institute?" In the last year, I knew that if I didn't get promoted I would have to retire, so I begged him for help. But the next day, the first person on the promotion list was his white moonlight. This time he has always been pompous. He actually used all his connections to reject me again. Took me the last time opportunities for advancement. That's when I knew. It turns out that we were separated for more than 10 years. There is always someone by Shen Yanzhou's side. That person remained alone all his life. For him, no marriage, no children, just to be with him forever. Finally, he couldn't bear to see her leave the institute, so he rejected me. The moment I saw the list, I subconsciously looked at the two of them. Shen Yanzhou felt relieved, and the woman cried with joy, and I felt like a sacrifice in their shameful and tacit agreement. Think of this. I covered my face with my hands trembling, tears falling from between my fingers like beads from a broken string, quickly soaking the bedding. This is a stupid decision. I spent my whole life to repay it too. After I calmed down, I made breakfast and ate it calmly. I went to the factory to find the leader again. Application. I haven't submitted it yet. Why did you change your mind? I smiled sheepishly. I'm really sorry, leader. The leader waved his hand and returned the application to me. Comrade Lin, it is an honor for our factory that you were admitted to Northwestern Polytechnical University. The day before yesterday, I was still trying to persuade Comrade Shen that it would be a pity if you didn't go. I didn't expect that you would change your mind today. It seems that Comrade Shin's words are still effective. I smiled, took the application form, thanked my leader, and then left the factory. As soon as I left the factory, I tore up the application form and threw it into the trash can. Looking at the debris in the trash can, I couldn't help but smile to myself. It turned out that the leader had advised Shin Yanzhou to let me go to the Northwest, but he never mentioned it. He even urged me to come earlier to get the application form. In my previous life, I used my own financial future to support him so that he could study peacefully, but he found a close female friend in college who shared his feelings with him. This also blocked my promotion opportunity for that year. In the last year, he even used all his connections to keep Bai Yueguang and get rid of me. 3. I returned home with red eyes. He sat there in a daze for most of the day before he stood up and packed up his luggage. School is about to start and the journey is long. The train ticket I bought before has been taken away by Shin Yanzhou, who said he would help me refund it. When I bought the ticket, there were no tickets available for the same day, so there was a day between me and going to the Northwest. I left a day early, which means I bought a ticket for tomorrow morning. I have to find a way to get the ticket back, otherwise it might be too late to buy another one. I made lunch in silence, just treat it as it is for myself and Shin Yanzhou in past and present lives. Let's have a farewell dinner. For when Shin Yanzhou came back, the last dish was just served. Here is the prescription. You need to go to the pharmacy to get your medicine every week. Shin Yanzhou handed me the documents in his hand. I'm leaving the day after tomorrow. Shall we go to the photo studio and take some pictures together tomorrow? I think of my past life. Before he left, he also took me to take a photo. For the next 10 years, he lived a carefree life, and I spend my days guarding this photo, take care of his parents for him, take care of children, and also sacrificed his own future. I pulled the corner of my mouth and said, okay, wait until you can find me tomorrow. While eating, I asked him, by the way, have I refunded my train ticket? Shin Yanzhou didn't even raise his head. Not yet. I was planning to go this afternoon. What's wrong? Give me the ticket. I'll go and return it. I paused. I just happened to have time. It just so happens that I need to get a certificate this afternoon, and I'm worried that I won't have enough time to return it. Shin Yanzhou handed me the ticket. I held the ticket in my hand and breathed a sigh of relief. Afternoon, after Shin Yanzhou left, I took out all the things we usually use at home, give away what you want to give away, and sell what you can sell. 5. That night, when Shin Yanzhou came back, he also brought his mother back with him. In his previous life, Shin Yanzhou would not bring his mother over until the next day, so when I saw him bring the person back, I was stunned for a moment. What's with that expression on your face? Don't you welcome me? Shin Yanzhou grew up in a single-parent family. It wasn't easy for his mother to raise him, so he is very filial, and his mother is also very strong. In my previous life, I understood how difficult it was for her, so I went along with her in everything. However, even though I served her for more than 10 years, until her death, she was still extremely picky about me. Now that I've been reborn, I naturally won't spoil her. Shin Yanzhou didn't tell you that you would come today, so the house hasn't been cleaned up yet. You have to wait. When Shin Yanzhou heard me calling him by his name, he looked at me in surprise because I used to call him Ian. He thought I was unhappy because he suddenly brought his mother over, so I hurriedly explained, I just happened to go get some information today, and a good friend of mine happened to have a car, so I went to pick up my mom. Anyway, it doesn't matter whether I answer it today or tomorrow, it's all the same. Seeing that her son was trying to please me and even had to explain to me why he brought her back home, Shin's mother looked unhappy. Shin Yanzhou saw that his mother was unhappy, so he hurriedly spoke, let's give our room to mom first, and we'll live in the other room. I don't care, I'm leaving tomorrow, so it doesn't matter where I live. Mother Shin moved into our room and her complexion became better, but it's not peaceful. Sometimes she asked me to serve tea, sometimes she asked me to pour water, and sometimes she asked me to wash her feet. I was tidying up another room and pretended not to hear. Seeing that I had a stern face, Shin Yanzhou did everything himself. After I had finally packed up my supplies, he lay down on the bed and cried out that he was exhausted. Arui, my mom is a very particular person. You should pay more attention to her in the future, okay? Don't let her feel uncomfortable living here. Oh, I responded casually. As soon as I lay down on the bed, Shin Yanzhou came over. I moved aside in annoyance. Your mother is next door. His breath fanned my neck, and his hand reached in from under my shirt. She won't hear it. But just as he finished speaking, he heard Shin's mother say, Lin Rue, come and help me go to the toilet. I closed my eyes in mockery. Shin Yanzhou stood up resigned to his fate. Where's your wife? Why are you here again? Go to bed quickly. I can handle it myself. You have to meet your friends tomorrow. and you'll be leaving for the Northwest the day after tomorrow, so don't get too tired. Then I heard a lot of ping-pong sounds. It was obvious that Shin's mother was deliberately making noises to express her dissatisfaction. I automatically blocked out Shin's mother's words and fell asleep quickly. 6. I woke up at 6 o'clock the next day when Shin Yenjo heard me get up. He thought I was going to buy groceries. Mom likes to eat pork liver. See if you can buy some for me. I didn't even turn my head. After washing up, I took the luggage that had been prepared long ago and took the train to the train station. When I arrived at the train station, I felt hungry and bought a few pancakes from a stall outside the station. I originally wanted to make some pancakes at home yesterday to eat on the way, but Shin's mother came. In order to avoid trouble, I had to give up. After 4 days of swaying on the train, I was exhausted by the time I arrived at school. After completing all the formalities, I fell into a deep sleep on my bed in the dormitory. I was woken up by several roommates like me. They came here from all over the world. After everyone had rested enough, they planned to go to the cafeteria to eat together on the first day of school. I thought I would not see Shin Yenjo in class. After all, his mother still needs someone to take care of her. But in the blink of an eye, I saw him push open the door and walk towards me. Aggressively. 7. Shin Yenjo roughly pulled me to the playground outside the classroom. Lin Rue, what are you doing? Shin Yenjo looked very angry, as if I had done something extremely treasonous. What the hell are you doing? Didn't we agree that you would give up going to college and stay at home to take care of mom? Why did you come to the Northwest without telling me? Do you know that my mother is alone at home with no one to take care of her? How are you going to let her live in the future? After saying that, he roughly pulled me forward. Go, pack your things and get back here now. I've already told the teacher at school and told you to take a temporary leave of absence. I slammed his hand away. What did you say? Shin Yenjo looked at me with a sneer. Lin Rue, what on earth are you doing? Do you still look like a wife? You left my mother at home and enjoy yourself here. Do you have a clear conscience? I stared at Shin Yenjo blankly. I felt that the person in front of me was extremely unfamiliar to me, even though I had lived with him for my whole life in my previous life. You mean your mother is injured? As a daughter-in-law, it is my duty to give up everything and stay to take care of her. And I came here to study at the university that I went through so much trouble to get into, just to make trouble, to enjoy myself. Is that what you mean? Looking at my extremely unfamiliar expression, Shin Yenjo's breath was held. He seemed to have really calmed down at this moment. He couldn't help but come over and hold my hand. I'm sorry, Rue, it's my fault. I was just too excited, he argued, but that's also because I saw that you were suddenly gone, and your things were gone too. But we clearly agreed that you would give up your studies temporarily and stay at home to take care of mom. Didn't we agree on this in advance? But you came here without saying a word. You said you left a mess at home. What do you want me to do? Shin Yenjo looked haggard. It seems that not only did he not sleep well during the few days on the train, but he must have also had a hard time during the 2 days at home too. In her previous life, her mother was difficult to take care of. When I was taking care of her, I had to get up many times a night for several months. I hardly had a good night's sleep, but who has ever understood the hardships I went through in my previous life? And Shin Yenjo had only taken care of his mother for 2 nights. How come his mother has become a mess? I sneered. Shin Yenjo, yes, we agreed before that I would give up my studies and stay at home to take care of your mother, but you've only been taking care of her for 2 days, right? How is it? Is it easy? That's your own mother. Even you think that's a mess. Why can you just pass this mess on to me? Shin Yenjo was furious. Why? Because she's my mother. She's your mother-in-law. Why do you say that? I lost my father when I was young. It was my mother who raised me and helped me get married. My mom has arranged everything for me. But what about now? I can't stand it anymore. Shin Yenjo, you also know that's your mother, not my mother. Your mother has had a hard time. She works very hard. Isn't that caused by you as her son? It's caused by your father. But what right do you have to ask me, your daughter-in-law, to pay it back? Just because I married you, should I give up everything and work like a slave in your Zhou family? Shin Yenjo, Shin Yenjo became furious and slapped me directly. My face unconsciously tilted to one side. Hey, why did they start fighting? Yeah, what happened? Tisk tsk, a grown man hitting someone. You are worse than pigs and dogs. I poked my tingling cheek with my tongue. It was a long while before I looked up. Shin Yenjo put his hands behind his back and said guiltily, Arui, I'm sorry, I'm not. Let's get a divorce. Shin Yenjo, I said calmly. What? Shin Yenjo's face suddenly turned pale. I said, let's get divorced. After I finished speaking word by word, I turned and walked towards the department head's office. 8. In fact, the idea of divorce, I had it on the first day I was reborn. However, If I had brought it up at that time, I'm afraid this trip would not have been so smooth, so I'd been enduring it unexpectedly. Shinyenjo would cruelly abandon his old mother and still come to school. What's even more despicable is that as soon as I arrived at school, I went to find the teacher without permission and told him that I had to give up my studies. Oh, that sounds good. I'll take the exam again next year. Let's not talk about whether I can pass the exam next year. The fact that he totally ignored me made me feel extremely disgusted. In my previous life, what did I get for him? For the children, and for that marriage. It was he who found his confidant in college after he became my leader. He blocked my promotion opportunities for 10 consecutive years. Every time I tell my children about my grievances, they always stand on his side, thinking that it is not easy for their dad either. I think it's good for me to take care of them both at home. As for my wishes, my dreams, my future, in their eyes, it's not worth mentioning. I've already taken the wrong path once, and I absolutely will not let myself fall again. 9. When I explained to the department head that Shinyenjo's mother had only broken her leg and was not paralyzed in bed and needed constant care, the department had also felt speechless. My grades were very good, even 40 points higher than Shinyenjo's. In addition, I worked in a military factory for 3 years and was an outstanding employee in the factory. Not only does he possess some confidential knowledge, but his math scores are also quite outstanding. In the eyes of school leaders, my abilities are definitely much better than those of Shinyenjo, who was admitted to university solely based on his grades. At this time, everyone is saying that women can hold up half the sky. Many scientists and researchers are women. Many women have even devoted almost their entire lives to scientific research, so the department head did not think that I should give up my future and help a man who was not as good as me just because I was a woman. When the department head asked about the slap marks on my face, of course I did not hide anything and told Director Su that I was beaten by Shinyenjo. Comrade Lin, you can stay here without worry and study hard. The motherland needs talents like you. You don't need to worry about other things. Just go back without worry. With the school teacher's words, I finally felt relieved. As expected of a top university in the country, the teacher did not believe Shinyenjo's words just because of my gender and thought that I should give up my studies and go back to take care of the elderly. I thanked the teacher gratefully and returned to the classroom. I don't know how the school leaders handled the matter next. Anyway, after Shinyenjo was called away once, he never told me again when he came back that he wanted me to give up my studies and go back to take care of his mother, and I also devoted myself to the ocean of learning. It was more than half a month later when Shinyenjo stopped me again. Lin Rue, how long are you going to make trouble? For so many days. You never asked me if I had enough to eat or if I was warm enough to wear. You even didn't wash my clothes. What on earth do you want to do? I looked up. After looking at Shinyenjo for a while, I remembered that Shinyenjo had also come to school. I rubbed my sore eyes. First of all, I didn't make a scene. Secondly, whether you eat well, wear warm clothes, or even wash your own clothes has nothing to do with me. I told you before, we're getting a divorce. If you've thought it through, we can go through the formalities right away. If not, please stay away from me. I still have a lot of books to read and I don't have time to chat with Shinyenjo about these trivial things. Lin Rue, are you serious? Do you really want to divorce me? Shinyenjo seemed very surprised. I thought I made it clear that day. I looked at him coldly. Shinyenjo couldn't believe it. Just because I asked you to go back and take care of my mom, you want to divorce me? Even after more than half a month of school, you're still angry and ignoring me. Do you really need to? Before I could say anything, someone called out from afar, Student Shen. I looked up and saw a woman in a white dress with long black hair draped softly over her chest. She came in front of us and stood beside Shinyenjo. Student Shen, this is my sister-in-law, right? After saying that, he looked at me again, his eyes full of persuasion. Sister-in-law, I heard that you left your mother-in-law behind and insisted on coming to school. And because classmate Shen advised you a few words, you are still angry. I'm not saying anything bad about you, but as a wife, you still have to be filial, otherwise, even a good man like Mr. Shin will become cold-hearted. Shinyenjo pursed his lips and said, Lin Rue, is what you just said true? Before I could say anything, the woman interrupted again, glancing back and forth between us with a curious look. What are you guys talking about? She looked at me curiously with her wet eyes. Sister-in-law, what did you say? Why is brother Shin so angry? Good job, just now it was classmate Shen. Now he called her affectionately. I pulled the corner of my mouth. Who are you? What does our conversation as husband and wife have to do with you? You're so eager to come up to me. Don't you have any thoughts about your elder brother Shen? I sneered disdainfully. The woman in front of me is called Anya. In the previous life, she was Shinyenjo's confidant in college in my last year of promotion. She was the woman who made Shinyenjo do everything he could to eliminate me for her. Anya, but what I didn't expect was, in this life, Shinyenjo had only been in school for more than half a month, and he was already involved with Anya again. It seems that they are really destined to be together. Anya's originally curious and innocent look was rebuked by me. She was stunned for a moment, and then her eyes quickly filled with tears. How could you say that to me? Anya looked at me in disbelief, then ran away wiping her tears in humiliation, a white dress fluttering in the wind. The thin figure looks like a piece of jade that will break at any time, which is heartbreaking. Lin Rue, what are you talking about? Shinyenjo looked at the woman running away with heartache, then turned around and started to speak harshly to me. Pa. I slapped him hard. He covered his face and looked at me in disbelief. Lin Rue, what are you crazy about? Pa. I slapped him again with my backhand. Lin Rue. Shinyenjo was furious and raised his hand. I took a step back and said, Shinyenjo, I'm at school. But you're flirting with other women. Aren't you afraid that I'll go to the teacher and report you? Shinyenjo was furious, and I have nothing. We are just close friends. I almost vomited when I heard that. Oh, I walked coldly past Shinyenjo and returned to the dormitory. Now that they haven't done anything too outrageous, I naturally won't say much, and I don't want to focus all my attention on them. Since Shinyenjo doesn't want to leave now, let's just drag it out. The first semester passed quickly because I had outstanding grades and had worked in a military factory before. I took a secret mission before the holiday of the first semester and went to a research institute for a year. No one knows about this. Naturally, I didn't tell Shinyenjo about it. 11 A year passed in the blink of an eye. I returned to school only when my work at the research institute came to an end. I will graduate in half a year. I need to come back early to handle the formalities. After graduation, I will go directly to the research institute. As soon as I came back, my roommates who I hadn't seen for a long time were all surprised. We agreed to go to the cafeteria for dinner, but I didn't expect that as soon as I entered the door, I saw Shinyenjo and Anya sitting together intimately. The two of them were almost leaning against each other, their movements intimate, like a couple in love. My roommate looked at me awkwardly. Lin Rue, you don't know yet, your husband Shinyenjo is a popular figure in school because of his excellent grades. There are many people who secretly like him. Look, that one is the one closest to her. I knew that my roommate was referring to was Anya. I nodded and said nothing. Shinyenjo has a good appearance and good grades. If it weren't for this, Anya in her previous life wouldn't have stayed single for his whole life. In the end, she almost became his white moonlight. It was just a matter between the two of them, but there were a lot of rumors in school. It's just because I, the real person, didn't say anything, so everyone just watched. But now that I'm back, I think the issue of my divorce with Shinyenjo should be put on the agenda. I took a wrong step and walked forward. Hey, are you eating? Shinyenjo and Anya paused, and both looked up at me at the same time. Lin Rue, Shinyenjo stood up suddenly. When did you come back? Where have you been this year? Compared to Shinyenjo's excitement, Anya had a calm expression. She stood beside Shinyenjo and looked at me with hostility. I heard that you two are always together in school, showing off. What do you think, Shinyenjo? Should we get a divorce? Shinyenjo's expression changed and he instantly distanced himself from Anya. Anya looked at me subconsciously. Are you really willing to get a divorce? Her roommates looked at her with disdain. Although nothing was said, she could understand the meaning. Anya's face turned red, but she still withstood everyone's mocking gazes and looked at me steadily, as if insisting on an answer. Do you really want a divorce? Shinyenjo wanted to say something, but when he saw the brave Anya, he seemed to be touched. He held Anya's hand tightly and looked at me. Okay, since you want a divorce, I'll grant you that. I nodded, and went with Shinyenjo to get a divorce certificate that same day. I went to the principal's office just after my divorce. I made a detailed report about the affair between Shinyenjo and Anya during the year I was away and gave it to the principal. Compared to Shinyenjo, a student who appears to have good grades but has bad behavior, the principal promised that he would give me a satisfactory explanation. A few days later, I heard that Anya had dropped out of school. Of course, before dropping out of school, she and Shinyenjo had already obtained a marriage certificate. My roommate is very gossipy. You don't know, the school clearly let them choose. Only one of them can stay, but that Anya actually took the initiative to say that she would drop out of school and let Shin stay. TSK, it's not easy for a family to raise a college student. She actually gave up her studies for a man so easily. I really can't understand it. I smiled bitterly and shook my head. She is not the only fool like this. It was me in my previous life, but in this life, it is Anya. But the beneficiary was Shinyenjo. It has to be said that whether in his past life or this life, Shinyenjo is a master of PUA. But after Anya left, Shinyenjo began to appear in front of me more frequently. No matter what he said, if I wasn't so stubborn and didn't understand him, he wouldn't have divorced me. 12. He always asked me indirectly where I had been during the year I disappeared and what my plans were for the future. I know that there has been a rumor in the school recently that 3 people will be selected to go to the research institute. I had great grades but disappeared for a year this year. No one knew where I went. However, Shinyenjo was a bit more thoughtful. He was worried that I had carried out some secret mission this year and would become one of the people competing with him for a place in the research institute. I turned a blind eye to his various temptations. In fact, what Shinyenjo didn't know was, selecting personnel to join the research institute is one of my tasks when I returned this time. Although Shinyenjo appears to have good grades, he spends most of his time on being close to Anya. It has never been within my consideration. 13. Soon, it was the day to announce the list. On this day, the school auditorium was full of people. Many people looked at the school leaders sitting on the stage with trepidation. When the time came, the leader took out a list and read out the names of 3 people selected to join the research institute. Standing on one side of the stage, I saw Shinyenjo clenching his fists tightly as Xiao Zhang's voice slowly fell. I saw Shinyenjo's face turn pale. Zhou Weigua, Zhangqing, Lu Jing, among the 3 names, none of them is him. I looked at Shinyenjo's pale face. It was as if I saw my past life. Time and again, I stood in front of Shinyenjo, the judge, like a sinner facing trial. When everyone said I was innocent, Shinyenjo, this man, who is my husband, has sentenced me to death time and time again. After coming back to this world, I became a judge. It feels so refreshing to see Shinyenjo miss his dream. Don't accuse me of abusing my power for personal gain. I selected 3 people from the list. Zhou Weigua's grades are better than Shinyenjo's. Zhang Cheng's practical performance is better than Shinyenjo's, but Lu Jing is a returned talent, and he has core technologies that are better and more powerful than mine. Why should I choose Shinyenjo instead of someone like this? That would be my dereliction of duty. 14. Okay, these are the 3 people who will be entering the research institute this time. Please welcome our selected engineer from the Research Institute, Mr. Lin, to the stage to speak. Everyone is warmly welcomed. The principal's words had just fallen. I was invited to the stage. I looked at Shinyenjo in the audience and suddenly stood up. Then a pair of eyes stared at me, as if I had done something wrong to him. I looked away and didn't look at him after I finished my speech. As soon as I walked out of the auditorium, someone grabbed my hand hard. Lin Rue, Shinyenjo's eyes were red. Why are you selected as a member of the Research Institute? Why did you choose these 3 and not me? You are seeking revenge, aren't you? You hate me for divorcing you and marrying you, aren't you? Do you believe that I will report you for abusing your power for personal gain? I shook off Shinyenjo's hand and said coldly, whatever. Behind him, Shinyenjo punched the wall heavily. Lin Rue, you will regret this. 15. That day, I was called to the office. In the office, Shinyenjo stiffened his neck, obviously very unconvinced. Comrade Lin, Student Shin is obviously very dissatisfied with this personnel selection. Not only did he come to me, he also sent a letter of complaint to the Research Institute, saying that you abused your power for personal gain. So, could you please explain to us why you chose the other 3 people instead of Mr. Shin? The principal glanced at Shinyenjo with a half-smile. It will also make Student Shin convinced. Shin Yenjo's face turned pale, but he still stared at me. I sighed, put the prepared materials on the table, then stepped back and said to Shinyenjo, take a look at these. Shinyenjo's unwilling gaze fell on the stack of information. After he finished reading it, he stumbled out of the principal's office in a daze. He lost this battle completely. The information not only shows that the other 3 people's abilities surpass his in all aspects, 2 of them were very quiet and had expressed outstanding insights in their respective fields. Even Zhou Weigua and the leader had met them. As for him, Shinyenjo, he just had slightly better grades and a better-looking face, and was highly praised in school. Even students like this are plentiful in school. Even if he were to choose from this large group of students, Shinyenjo might not be able to rank in the top 10. How can a person like Shinyenjo have the nerve to accuse me of abusing my power for personal gain? I took 3 students with me and disappeared from everyone's sight overnight. 16. It was 20 years later when I returned home again, and I had become the director of a research institute. Mom, is this where you used to live? My adopted children looked at the city where I had lived for more than 10 years with curiosity in their eyes. I smiled and said, yes, look here, this is the former military factory. Your mother worked here for 3 years. Unfortunately, the factory has now become an ordinary steel plant. It's no longer the way I remember it. Hey, are you Lin Rue? I didn't expect that the guard actually recognized me. He walked out of the guard room. Oh, are you really a forest engineer? I heard that you are at the research institute now. When did you come back? I didn't expect that the security guard still remembered me, so I chatted with him for a few words. After a few words, A door next to him suddenly opened and a man was driven out by a woman with a broom. Bah, I've been working like a slave for you my whole life, and you still dare to flirt with other women outside. Get out of here. As the door closed, the man turned around with a dark face and wanted to say something, but suddenly noticed our group. The man was stunned for a moment. Lin Rui, Shen Yanzhou, whose appearance had changed greatly but was still thin, strode towards me. Mom, my son took a step forward and subconsciously stood in front of me. My daughter also held my arm tightly to protect me. Mom. Shen Yanzhou glanced at the two of them, then looked past them and towards me. Lin Rui, is it really you? Are you back? I don't care about the past anymore. So when facing Shen Yanzhou, I was also very calm. My son saw that we seemed to know each other, so he stepped aside. Shen Yanzhou's eyes were still fixed on me. Lin Rui, they are all your children. You remarried. I just nodded, took my two children to the government guest house, and left. I still find it funny. Why does Shen Yanzhou think that I would not get married for him? Although for various reasons, I am indeed not suitable for having children, but my husband loves me very much. His sons and daughters are also orphans of comrades who gave everything for the country, and they are all very filial. I have a successful career and a harmonious family. I feel that I am living a much more comfortable life in this life than in my previous life. In the evening, many old friends got together. Someone told me that Shen Yanzhou is now a teacher in a school. At first, he divorced me. He was flirting with Anya at school again, and his reputation was already ruined. When I was selecting people to join the research institute, because I did not choose Shen Yanzhou, he wrote a letter to the research institute to report me. Although the school and research institute later became aware of the whole story, but no matter in front of the leaders of the school or the research institute, the three words Shen Yanzhou were marked with a big cross. This resulted in Shen Yanzhou being kicked back to his hometown by the school when he was assigned a job after graduation and was assigned to work in the military factory where I used to work. He wanted to join the research institute every year, but was rejected every year. This year is our second year of marriage. Unfortunately, I was not the one responsible for this selection afterwards, as I was proven innocent time and time again. The three words Shen Yanzhou were completely blacklisted by the research institute. Such a person with unclear mind. I can't afford the research institute. In the end, even the military factory didn't want him. He could only go to school to work as an administrative teacher. Speaking of this, someone mentioned Anya.